The air today. Ray Dunn is back from his vacation. Hello, Ray.
Hi, Mike. How are you?
How was your vacation? A couple days at the beach, right?
Yeah, very relaxing. Got to enjoy it, so a great time.
And you got to suffer last night watching the Phillies.
I did get to suffer last night watching the Phillies.
The people that stayed up for the whole game, okay, we have a choice here. We have a choice. We can make the game about Phil Cuzzy, or we can lament some other things, like the Phillies being 0 for their last 24 with runners in scoring position, and Ryan Kirkering hitting 2 batters, even though he did get hosed on a couple of pitches. I will say this about the umpire. First of all, he missed about 5 pitches for the Giants as well. He had a bad night. He missed about 20 pitches. That's inconceivable. But when he misses pitches late in the game for the Phillies, there is no way that the umpire should not come out and talk to him about it. Now, and here's the reason. It's not, you can't look at it like, well, Rob Thompson never does that. There's a point in time when a manager, no matter what his personality is, has to back his players. It's not enough to hear Caleb Cotham yell from the dugout that he missed pitches. The manager has to come out and really make a stern statement, and if he gets tossed, he gets tossed. It's not that big of a deal in the 8th inning that the manager gets tossed. In fact, it's never that big of a deal when a manager gets tossed, in my opinion. But you've got to show your players who are out there going, oh, man, this guy, if I argue, he's going to toss me. So I got to walk away. I got to sit there and take it. But the manager doesn't have to take it. The manager has to come out and let his players know that he's behind them on those pitches. And I just don't understand Rob Thompson sometimes. Like, it's not acceptable enough to just stay in the dugout and yell. When you're getting hosed that bad, and again, he was bad for both teams, and I don't want to make this about the umpire's bad calls when the Phillies aren't hitting with runners in scoring position, but the manager has to do more than he did last night. It's simple. Ray, are you down with that?
Why does he have to do more than he did last night?
Because he's got to back his player. His players want allies at that spot. They're getting hosed. If you're in the batter's box, it's bad enough that you're trying to survive in the batter's box, trying to get a hit. It's a hard freaking thing. When the umpire's got it, he decreases the odds for you to get a hit. That's a bad thing. And the manager has to have his players back. I feel you, and I'm going to come out. I'm going to give that guy a piece of my mind, and it may not help, but it just shows the player that the manager has their back. That's why it's important.
But, Mike, when you say you don't believe it had that big of a bearing on the game, whether it be him getting ejected or
it may have had a big bearing on the game. Like those pitches, when they were runners in scoring position, that maybe is a pitch that they stay off of because they can't put it in play. And that messes up their runners in scoring position.
To be clear, I think the Harper at bat there where he misses 2 are egregious and did have an impact on the game because it impacts how your best hitter or, in theory, your best player is approaching that at bat. He's down 2 strikes immediately. That's 2 brutal misses for you. I'm not saying that it did impact the game. I'm questioning, though, you say that you think on both sides last night Phil Cuzzy was missing calls.
Yeah, but he missed more Phillies calls than Giants calls.
But if you're sitting there as Rob Thompson with that thought in your head, are you showing him up?
Yes, because an umpire has to be showing up sometimes. Because the umpire, when a player doesn't like a call, the umpire sloughs it off. He doesn't give an F about a player complaining. When a manager like Rob Thompson will come out and give him a piece of mind, Cuzzy starts to think about that. And the people who supervise Cuzzy start to think about that. And it's all about a part of their evaluation on who they're going to trust for playoff umpires. It's a whole process. But Rob Thompson is a guy that doesn't complain a lot. If he complains in that situation, he makes it a special complaint that the league has to look at. And you're backing your player. It's comforting to a player to know their manager has their back in that kind of a situation when they're trying to survive in a batter's box.
I think it became pretty clear that they were complaining in the dugout.
It does. That's not enough. It's not enough. You got to come out and you got to show him up to put the world on notice about his bad performance, just like anything else.
And that does...
I just told you what it does. It makes your players believe in you more that you've got their back. It makes the league focus a little more. That a guy like Rob Thompson is so upset that he would come out and complain about it.
Okay, but if every time this happens, because this has been multiple times this season where people are like, that is where he has to be the rallying point. He has to get out there. If he does it every time,
I'm saying he has to do it every time. The guy missed 20 pitches last night. 20.
The guy was brutal, but I've said this before about Rob Thompson.
When you're brutal, you got to be called on it. When you're marginally brutal, maybe you don't.
I've said this before about the guy. Everyone expects a firecracker out of a candle with him. He's just not that guy. That's not who he is.
I'm not expecting a firecracker out of a candle. I'm expecting for him to back his players in an overly egregious situation by coming out and making a statement. And if you get thrown out, that player at the end of the night goes, he had my back. I appreciate that. That's baseball. That's what, like, the confidence that you set out in the clubhouse when guys want to play for you is because of those little moments when a manager shows confidence in you enough to have your back.
I understand what you're saying about this. I understand. In that moment, we've had this conversation before about Thompson. The way I would react to things is, I think, different than the way he would react to things. Because if that's happening to me in a game,
I get it.
I'm doing it.
I get it. But Rob Thompson doesn't have to do it every single time. I know what he is. I know what his personality is. And for the most part, I like it. But in a situation like that last night, where your players are suffering at the hands of a bad umpire, you've got to make a full-blown discovery about it. That's all I'm saying. Now, not every situation is the same. That situation last night called for it.
And I'm just curious on your part, because you think this is so much of the guys are going to see him standing up for him and it means something to them.
It does.
They have an expectation of what Rob Thompson is at this point. Do you think anyone in that clubhouse is surprised when this doesn't happen?
Yes, I think it was. They're surprised that he didn't do it last night, and I think it hurts. I think it hurt. But the fact that guy was so egregious and the manager didn't come out, I think makes them have a little bit of a lack of confidence in their manager.
You think so?
I really do.
You think at this point?
I really do. In that situation last night, absolutely.
How many games are we into the Rob Thompson experience? Like, at some point, are those players just wrong for expecting something different?
But, Ray, this is like an all-timer. Again, every situation is different. Every situation does not call for a manager to make that much of a statement. Last night, it did. And you have to let that thought linger. And now, tonight, because that guy was so bad, and every umpire on the field knows that was so bad, then maybe they get the benefit of the doubt tonight. It's all about sending a message for the next game.
Okay, but you also, in this open, have mentioned the fact that you don't think that was the driving force of them losing.
I don't want to make this about him. This is a sub part of the game. The fact that they're not hitting in scoring position may have been influenced by some bad calls, but still, they're 0 for their last 24. They're not putting the ball in play with runners in scoring position. That's the major focus. Now, I'm going to give you another major focus. I'm going to give you a major focus that the first baseman right now can't play. This guy, this is my biggest worry. You can talk about the bullpen, you can talk about left field. Right now, my biggest worry and my Phillies' biggest problem is that Bryce Harper is not well enough to be effective. And I don't know if that's going to change. He's got one extra base hit in the last 45 days. He has struck out 9 times in the last 21 plate appearances. And I don't want to hear the manager say he's just off balance. He's got a problem with his wrist that I think is influencing his brain and his confidence to hit a baseball. That's a major problem. 0 for 24 is a major problem. And Phil frickin' Cousy was a major problem last night that Rob Thompson should have done something about. There you go. There are my 3 problems with the Phillies last night.
Other than that, how was your night?
Other than that, it was fantastic. As I stayed up till 12 midnight to watch that damn game.
You know what we get to do again tonight?
Watch it again with Taiwan Walker. Stay up till 1 o'clock tonight. How about that?
Oh, yeah.
All right, 610-632-0975. Yeah, there's a lot of people that don't have opinions on this. And again, the Phillies did not lose because Phil Cousy sucked. But during the course of a loss, there was a statement that needed to be made last night by the manager that would have really helped the confidence level in his players, in my opinion. Or as the kids say, IMO. 610-632-0975. It's the Mike Missanelli Show. Back after this.
We want to hear from
Missanelli Show, 97.5, The Fanatic. Let me just say, from a baseball perspective, you know, I've said before that every time you're in the batter's box, it's a matter of survival. It's hard. So when you get in a batter's box and a guy makes bad calls to put you in a hole, it's like your brain goes, man, I thought I had control of this at bat, and this guy just took it away from me with bad calls. It's already survival in a batter's box. When an umpire puts you in a hole like that, it's an undeserved hole. It's like jumping off the Titanic and trying to survive in the deep blue sea with water wings. You got no shot at that point. That's the peril of it. So, when a manager's got your back on that, maybe the next time it's different. Maybe that guy buckles down a little more. Maybe his teammates, his umpiring teammates, buckle down the next night. Maybe the league takes a little notice. Gee, Rob Thompson never does that. Let's take a closer look at this. He missed 20 pitches? Well, guess what? He's not going to get considered for playoffs. That's the whole process of it.
I would say there's something considerably wrong with this league if today there's not a look in the mirror for Phil Cuzzi on how bad that performance was last night.
It's got to be extra emphasis, though, right? This is what I'm saying. Like, you can't assume that the league, like, if you kick up a fuss, guess who gets it? That's on ESPN. Everybody looks at that and pays attention to it.
You don't think that something was sent from the Phillies to the league today? Like, hey,
maybe,
man,
but
look at all that
it's
stuff.
after the fact. Like, a live highlight. Oh, Rob Thompson not happy. Well, there's a call they admit. Oh, Rob Thompson not happy about it. Comes out, gives Phil Cuzzi a piece of his mind. That's excellent. That's an excellent image that people have to pay attention to.
But you mentioned in real time. In real time, the call's been made.
Doesn't matter. In real time, you cannot take back the call. I'm not saying you can take back the call. I'm saying you got to make a statement about the call. You got to go, this is ridiculous.
And the statement right now is being made by everyone but the Phillies. I mean, everyone, I think, surrounding this city right now is talking about how bad the umpiring was last night.
Yeah. And again, they didn't lose because of the umpire. But it's a part of the game that the manager has some control over as far as griping about it. And sometimes you got to gripe as a manager. I don't care what his personality is, that he's not a griper. That is so egregious. Your players are getting hosed right in front of your eyes. If that doesn't elicit an emotional response, I don't know what's going to do it. All right. Let's go to text board. We got a lot of text on Topper.
All right. Sean from Cinnamon said Rob absolutely has to come out last night. The umpire missed 3 straight pitches for Orion and in 2 separate at-bats for Harper. He missed several pitches. Both came at big times of the game. It's not too much to ask Thompson 2 or 3 times a year to show emotion.
That's all I'm saying. When it's overly egregious and you break out of your mold of being this placid manager, this stoic manager, it puts people on notice. Hey, this guy's getting hosed, and he's showing you that he's getting hosed. And he's the most important thing is that you're sticking up for your players. Believe me, a player appreciates that ad nauseum. When he's feeling that way, and a manager backs him on it, that does wonders for a guy's confidence.
Joe from Pottstown here. Jen's Topper has to go off on an umpire at some point. Still remember him not having JT's back earlier in the season. Sorry to say, I also think we may have seen the best of Harper.
Well, that's what I'm worried about right now. That Harper is dealing with this situation. He does not look the same. And I do believe it's because in his brain, he knows if he swings a certain way, it's going to hurt. And I think he's been very placid about it.
I mean, the early returns and him coming back are not good. Like, you don't feel at all encouraged by where he's at.
No, you don't. He doesn't look like the same strong hitter.
I do feel like we've had this conversation before. I do feel like I'm kind of having Groundhog's Day, though, when he goes on the IL or when he comes back from the IL and we talk about, is there any power left in there? Is he really Bryce Harper? Like, at what point does he earn the benefit of the doubt of him coming back?
I don't know that, like, when you get older and you get something, get these chronic things that happen, the same thing as last year. I mean, I don't know. I mean, listen, Ranger Suarez have been lights out. Ranger Suarez's velocities have been way down. Is he wearing out? Is he just, have to make a perfect pitch to do what he's doing? That's also a worry. When guys hit a physical wall, there's something to worry about.
Oh, I think the Suarez thing from over the weekend was very interesting. The fact that they held him to
five innings.
5 innings, his pitch limit was at 85. Yeah, that's concerning. For a guy that has struggled with something consistently, that is something
and that's the same concern I had with Harper, that this wrist situation that he's trying to play through, it affects his brain more than anything. Listen, we've all played a sport where we go, it's like the old joke. The doctor goes, hey, doc, it hurts when I do this. Don't do this. And that's in your brain. Your brain goes, don't do this. That's going to hurt. And it takes over completely. And that's where I think he's at right now.
But to that point, where do you go from here with him and his health?
I don't know. I really don't know. Time off is not going to help it. It's going to be a chronic situation. So I guess he's got to play through it, and we got to hope that somewhere along the line he gets it back. But right now, I'm not that confident. And the Phillies can't win anything without him being a productive member of that lineup in that spot. They can't.
Yeah, and to that point, we got a texter in here from yesterday. Harper not playing like a superstar is the biggest issue on this team. He's supposed to be the best player and produces like an 8-hole hitter. He's locked into Philly for 7-8 more years. He's the biggest problem they have now. And moving forward, if this is the type of production to expect.
That's a bigger concern. Like, what's he going to be for the rest of his career? I'm trying to stay in the moment here and try to figure out what he's going to give the Phillies for the rest of the year with this situation. What else on the text board about Rob Thompson?
Thompson, some more people upset with the fact that he needs to come out and argue. Ari from Warminster, somebody needs to come out and argue with him and get tossed after the Harper at bat. Maybe Kirkering gets the calls the next inning. I thought for sure Cotton would get tossed on the mound visit, but even he didn't have the guts to get in Cuzzy's face. Pathetic.
Yeah. Kirkering, it's funny. Kirkering got hosed. He did hit 2 batters.
Yes.
You cook your own stew there.
Maybe only one run there instead of two.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you did strike out Chapman like three different times.
What's interesting about the Phillies right now, and we're going to do this a little later, we're going to go down the lineup and down some players to try to figure out from the fan base what your confidence level is in players if we rate it on a 1 to 10 basis. This is going to be a really interesting exercise.
Trustworthy Tuesday here.
Yes. All right. We got Ish on the line. We'll get to Ish after this. We'll get to him right now. Let's go to Ish from Levittown. Ish, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. What's up, Ish?
Hey, Mike, how are you?
What's going on?
You have me so fired up I can yell. What you're saying is so true. Just a couple quick points.
Do me a favor. Take yourself off speaker.
Okay, can you hear me now?
It's better, yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. You're right. When you're in the batter's box, it's like a battle. And because I used to play baseball, and I understand what you're saying. Second point is Rob Thompson. Rob is a good manager, but he should have argued on calls yesterday. At least put some fire under players, and they'll give a look for the umpires too. I agree with that. And this team is just so stale sometimes. I just don't know where we're going at this point. But I totally agree with you on those ends of what you were saying.
Well, listen, they win and they lose and they win. They're still a good team. I don't want to blow this thing up like it's some kind of a doom. They're still a very solid team, and they're atop their division right now, and that's a good spot. They're teetering between the second and third seed in the playoffs. But when you're looking at the long haul, whether they can win something, this is how I always evaluate it.
Yeah. Okay. And two quick things with Bryce Harper. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but something is lingering where his swing is it's not there. His power. I don't know.
You're right. It's obvious. It's obvious that his power is not. It's not a matter of timing as much as it is. I believe that he is thinking his way through a swing, and because he's hurting, he's thinking his way through that swing, and he's not letting it go. And that happens when you're injured, when something's painful to you.
Yeah, I agree with you. I totally agree. Is Ray there today?
Ray is here today. He's back from vacation. He was at the beach for a few days.
Ray was playing stickball on the beach and a little fast frisbee on the beach yesterday.
Were you playing a little frisbee on the beach there, Ray?
I was not, no.
He was not playing frisbee, Ish.
He was playing frisbee with his best friends yesterday. Ain't that right, Wayman?
Was he? Wait. Was he playing hacky sack too? With his buddies in a semicircle?
Yeah, the little circle playing hacky sack. And listen to Kendrick Lamar and the Cliffs, Wayman. You was dancing yesterday, Wayman, to Kendrick Lamar. All
right. It's not bad today, right?
That was still pretty bad.
He went Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah. That's not exactly a child song.
He went frisbee with Ray and his little buddies.
I appreciate how much Ish is listening because I've referenced the new Clips album exactly once on these airwaves, and he was able to pull that reference out in there. So good work by you, Ish. Thank you for listening.
Oh, my. 610-632-0975. On the other side, we'll hear from Bryce Harper on that at-bat. Not on his condition, but on that at-bat with Phil Cuzzy. These guys are so afraid of umpires. Like, he had to throw in, well, I like Phil. You don't have to like him. Mike Missanelli Show continues.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Phillies fall 3-1 to the Giants. I'm Ray Dunn with this Fanatic Sports Update. The West Coast swing got started with a loss to the Giants 3-1 late last night for the Phils. They wasted a gem from Christopher Sanchez. The lineup went 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position. Orion Kirkering allowed 2 runs in the bottom of the 8th. Plenty of discussion surrounding the performance of home plate umpire Phil Cuzzy, who had a pair of misses during Harper's 8th inning at bat, and then 3 misses during Matt Chapman's at bat against Orion Kirkering in the bottom half of that 8th inning. Harper talked postgame about Cuzzy.
Umpire took over the game. He said the second one he had at my belt line, which I knew it wasn't. Obviously, that doesn't help us in those situations, and he's got to be better.
Phillies try to bounce back tonight as Taijuan Walker on the mound against Robbie Ray at 9:45. Last night, the Summer Sixers were in action and fell 89-78 to the Thunder. His third overall pick, VJ Edgecombe, sat out the game with a thumb contusion. Yesterday, the 76ers also announced they've re-signed a 39-year-old Kyle Lowry to a one-year deal. The Flyers make an announcement yesterday that they've given Cam York a 5-year deal worth just north of $5 million per year. This update's brought to you by Macy's Backstage. Macy's Backstage is a whole new floor inside your Macy's, and right now you'll find the latest summer styles all for under $25. With new arrivals every day, you never know what amazing deals you'll find. I'm Ray Dunn on the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Oh, I love when you play this, Ray. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Mike Missanelli Show. 610-632-0975. We got a lot of text on Topper, but let me just get to Bryce Harper, who was talking about the eighth inning where he got hosed by Phil Cuzzi, the umpire, who's like Phil Cuzzi's like 70 years old, isn't he?
He is.
Yeah, he's probably there probably should be a retirement age for umpires. Where
I would think so.
They get a pension at 65 and they got to get out. But anyway, here's what he's like the new Angel Hernandez now. If I Phil Cuzzi, he used to be a good umpire. So here's Bryce Harper talking about that at bat.
He said the second one he had at my belt line, which, yeah, I knew it wasn't. So I couldn't say much more. I didn't want to. I didn't really say anything to him when I walked off the first time on the strike three. That was up. I just told him he missed it. So I respect Phil. I like Phil a lot. Obviously, that doesn't help us in those situations, and he's got to be better.
All right, so I respect Phil. I like him a lot, but he's got to be better. So he's like covering his ass the whole time on that quote, which is interesting. Let me try to put this in perspective. I had a major leaguer tell me once in a random conversation how much it means when a manager backs you up when you're getting hosed. And he said he was in AAA, a AAA manager, and he said he got struck out on 3 horrendous calls. So he steps out and he's drawing a little bit with the umpire. He sees his manager coming out, and he thinks his manager's got his back. The manager starts turning on the player and goes, "Get out of there! Get back in the dugout!" He goes, "You know what that does to a player's psyche?" He goes, from that moment on, the circle of trust between that guy who's your manager and you has been broken forever when a guy does that. He says, now just look at the opposite. If that guy came out and pulled me away so I wouldn't get thrown out, and then he took the beast and started getting on the umpire, what that does for the player. And that applies at every level. So that's why I'm saying that Rob Thompson, after that at bat, now you don't do it after the second strike, because at that point you mess up the rhythm of the at bat. But if at the end of the bat your guy's not successful and it's because that umpire put him in the hole, that's when you come out. And if you get thrown out, so freaking what?
So I'm curious for you then. If this is the standard at which that creates the circle of trust, that's what people buy into, that's what fires them up to play for.
One of the things.
He's never been this. So do you think that is something that just doesn't exist for this team?
He's always been a guy who backs his players. Like behind closed doors, he's backing his players. He loves his players. He's got that special bond with him in the clubhouse. That's a situation where he can do it outside the clubhouse. That's all I'm saying.
But if he's an in-the-clubhouse guy to back his guys.
Ray, am I asking him to be a maniac every game?
No, you're not asking him to be a maniac every game.
I'm asking him one special circumstance to do it. That's all.
I think my issue today is not so much that he didn't do it, didn't do it. My issue is more the reaction that people have to him not doing it, as if they're shocked every time he doesn't do it.
Well, listen, I think they should be shocked that he didn't do it last night. That guy missed 20 pitches. All right? He hosed a lot of Phillies last night. That is the time where you have to stick up for your players. That's all I'm saying. If he misses 3 pitches, no. 4, you don't, no. 20 pitches? Yes.
But even you, Mike, say that you don't put the game on the umpire.
No, I don't. But that's beside the point. Like, Rob Thompson coming out to argue is not putting the whole game on the umpire. He's just making a statement on his team getting hosed and his players getting hosed, and he's backing his players. That's all.
I understand, but if you're Rob Thompson and he sees it the way you see it, if this game was not decided by the umpires, him not going out there is more a reflection of the fact of this team has to do better. This umpire is something I can't control. What we can control, we're not doing well enough right now.
After the game, he should say, you guys suck right now being 0 for 24 runners in scoring position. We got to do a better job. But I also thought you got hosed, and I wanted to stick up for you. If that's what you need to make a speech, then that's the speech you make. Yeah, we're struggling. And in fact, he told we're struggling with runners in scoring position. We got to put the ball in play a lot more. That goes without saying.
And if he has a conversation inside the clubhouse after the game that we don't see about the umpire and about what happened this in that game, and he says, you know what, we're sending out tape to the league that has to review the performance of that umpire because what he did to you guys was unacceptable.
But see, at the moment has then passed.
Has it? Harper's still talking about it.
But the moment has passed in live action time while the guy's getting hosed. At the moment he's getting hosed is when it should happen.
I understand. There's just nothing that changes in that moment when he goes out there. The call has still been made.
There's a lot that changes. When you react immediately, your guy's thinking the same thing. Your manager's backing you. That's a bonding experience right there. Instant bonding. It's like instant oatmeal.
Not a big oatmeal guy.
Well, I'm not either. I hate that instant oatmeal, too.
Yeah. I was surprising. You being an oatmeal guy kind of shocked me.
No.
For a loop
I
like
actually...
Do you do instant anything?
No, I don't.
I feel like that would be an insult.
I don't do instant anything. I actually do steel cut oatmeal occasionally, where you got to cook it a little bit.
Oh,
but
yeah,
you
I don't know.
It's time. Yeah, it's time consuming.
Do you even have a microwave?
Yeah, I do.
I guess for leftovers. You don't strike me as a guy that would microwave much.
A potato,
okay.
microwave my potatoes.
I was gonna say you strike me as you're going through the whole process.
Popcorn.
Okay, popcorn.
Reheating leftovers.
Yeah.
I do
leftovers. Once I said it, I was like, he's definitely got leftovers that he would do. But
yeah, I do leftovers. Well, I do it strategically. A lot of people overheat their leftover and it doesn't come out the right way. I put it on power level 5. Like if I'm going to reheat something, I don't pop it in there for quick 30 seconds at high heat. I'll go 3 minutes at a 5 heat.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm gonna take notes.
Yeah,
Learn something new every day here.
610-632-0975. On the other side, the level of trust for your players. We're going to go over it with Ray. And if you're out there listening, you can give us feedback on the text board or give us a call at 610-632-0975. Or we got the chat rolling, which Ray's paying attention to. It's the Mike Missanelli Show back after this.
Do you feel unfulfilled?
632-0975. A lot of people didn't stay up for that game last night, and I totally understand it. Late start, and you got to go to work, or you have to get up early, and it's at 12 o'clock, and the game's still on. So I get it, and maybe a lot of people didn't see the umpiring that was bad at the end and the missed calls that happened most of the night. If you caught the early part of the game, you saw some missed calls as well. And what the duty of the manager is. I know people have different philosophies. Like, for instance, Ray and I have different philosophies on what should have happened last night. And I am not a wartime concierge. I don't want my managers being maniacs. But last night, I thought it was justified that he had to come out and make a statement to back his players who were getting hosed. But let's move on to the trust level we have, because the bigger picture is, can the Phillies get it done? Now they're hovering around. They're still in pretty good shape. As of yesterday, they were the 3rd seed, which is fine. They play the 6th seed, which would be the Padres or somebody like that, and I think they can beat the Padres in a series. But let's go look at the level of trust for your players. Now, for a team in first place, what they really weren't representative that much in the All-Star game. You had 2 All-Stars. They should have had a lot more. Trey Turner got hosed. There was a story today in the Inquirer that none of them got hosed, which I take exception to, and I'll talk about that a little later. That was a story by Marcus Hayes, who pulled one out of his hot take file. But some of the stuff he writes is like, I have to go, man, he was just looking for a hot take. But in any event, let's go, Ray. Let's play this little game, and we'll get to our phone calls that we have stacked up. Trust from 1 to 10 on the Phillies players right now. Let's start out with Bryce Harper. What do you got?
The injury is the only thing that keeps you held up with him right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I would still go with 7.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a 7 that's down from an 8 probably 5 days ago.
No, I think that's pretty accurate. It's 7 and maybe headed downward.
I really think he's earned the benefit of the doubt to come back from injury and take his time in terms of getting back to what he usually is. The problem is this is a reoccurring injury, and that's something that makes me feel a little uneasy.
Yeah, it makes me feel uneasy as well. So I would right now, my trust level in Harper is 6.5.
Oh,
a little lower than your 7. Trey Turner.
Trey Turner is probably, I would go he's an 8.
I would go 9.
All right.
And I know a lot of people, yesterday we talked about when Amy was here, he is the least appreciated good player that we've ever had wear a Philly uniform.
Ooh. I don't know about that.
All right, give me another one. Give me
Don't
somebody.
you talk all the time about how people didn't appreciate Jimmy Rollins enough?
All right, Jimmy Rollins is probably a good one. Yeah.
This town also talked about how much Howard struck out a ton, while Howard was the preeminent power hitter in the league.
Would you say he's top 3? Nobody appreciates Trey Turner at all. They don't appreciate him a little bit.
I think people
now, we
have come around
appreciated
on
Jimmy
him.
Rollins every now and then, and Ryan Howard a little. Nobody appreciates him. No, nobody talks about Trey Turner. Nobody, the only thing they focus on is when he makes an error. And his defensive metrics are pretty good this year.
I don't know. I think plenty of people right now are saying that he was a snub for the All-Star game. I think if you think he was an All-Star, you appreciate
I was talking
him.
about that yesterday. Nobody cared that much about him being a snub.
You know, it was weird. I talked about this a little bit last week when you were out. Nobody really cared about the whole All-Star voting process in general. In this town, we just didn't show up for them voting-wise.
Well, but that's realistic. See, that's what makes me appreciate Philly fans. Instead of going Yahoo, they voted for people who they thought deserved it. And I like that about the All-Star. I like about that this team, that we don't stuff the ballot box. Even though there's commercials that say stuff the ballot box.
Well, I feel like if you stuffed the ballot box for someone you cared about, i.e. Turner, that would be something big.
Yeah, now he wasn't going to be a starter.
No.
But so this went down to the selection of Turner, and the manager not selecting Turner is egregious to me. Total agree. I mean, when you look at his numbers and his rank in almost every category, he should have been a backup shortstop. I get Ellie De La Cruz is an exciting player. This is one year you had to have 3 shortstops. Anyway, Trey Turner, 9, you go 8.
Yeah.
Kyle Schwarber.
10?
You going 10.
Every time he steps up to the plate, I expect something amazing.
I'm loath to go out to 10. So I'll go 9.5.
All right.
I can't ever give anybody a perfect score. Like, I'm not a gymnastics referee.
Oh, I'd make a terrible gymnastics referee.
Alec Boehm.
6.
Ooh.
I have Harper at a 7. I can't say I have Boehm higher than
6
him.
for Boehmy. All right. Castellanos.
Also a 6.
Okay, that's fair. Real Muto. Or
I'll leave it at
as
6.
Tom McCarthy would say, JT.
Defensively, I trust him a ton. Offensively, I don't trust him at all.
All right, what's
so
the
I guess
number?
that evens out to a 5.
A 5 for Real Muto. Bryson Stott.
Like a 4.
Ooh, below 500. Kepler.
3.
3 for Kepler. I agree. Marsh.
Somehow he ended up higher on this than I anticipated. Marsh. Right now, let's throw him a 5.
A 5, mid-level. Luzardo.
Ooh, this is good. I'll put him up at a 6.5.
Wow, that's high.
I thought that was low.
That's high for him right now. I don't know from one day to the other how he's going to be.
I mean, the difference for him right now is runners on, runners off.
Yeah, I would say 5 because I can't tell one way or the other. Nola.
Oh, man. 5 because I just put it right in the middle. Like, I got no idea what he's going to be when he comes back.
All right, that's fair. Kirkering.
7.5.
That's a little high. I go 7 and maybe treading downward at 6.9. Strom.
Strom, also at a 7.
Romano.
6.
Banks.
6.5. Situationally, I have more confidence with the situations they use him in. He'll succeed in than Romano.
All right. Ross, Lazar, Johnson, I'm not even going to evaluate. All right.
Oh.
I'm going to
How about Max Lazar getting out of it last night? Everybody that showed up for the late show.
I'm not even going to waste my time evaluating that whole situation. So let me ask you this. With these numbers that you just put out there, they're not very high across the board. There's 110 and the rest 7 and below. Is that good enough? The trust level for you. I'm not even talking about fans. You who pay attention on every pitch.
Well, I mean, it's the reason why when they put out those percentage of chance to win the World Series, they're so low. One team does it. This is trust factor to be the championship team right here, and that's why the standard's so high compared to other teams. Yeah, this is probably a good level to trust. For what I want, I think I look at that catcher, second base, left field collection on my sheet right here, where my trust is very low and all that. That shows me somewhere they need to improve. I look at the relievers we're talking about here, and that's also somewhere you need to improve because I don't have a reliever that I feel very strongly about. If I feel more strong about Trey Turner than I do any of my relievers, that's probably not a good thing.
All right. Let's go to Bob in Vermont. Check it in. What's up, Bob? You're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, Mike, how are you? Been a long time since I talked to you.
What's up, Bob?
Welcome back. Great show. I wanted to talk. I know you're talking about Phillies. Can I talk about Sixers?
Certainly. What do you got to the Sixers?
I really like their ball movement, and I think they're patient with the basketball. And I really like Johnny Broom. I like Johnny Broom's play. He had 13 solid points on the first game, and he did pretty well in the next game. But why did VJ didn't play last night?
Thumb problem.
What was it?
It was a thumb.
Oh, okay. So that was my take. Thank you so much for taking my call.
Well, wait a minute, Bob. Let's have a discussion here because I disagree with you. You think the Sixers have a bright future with the young players?
I think they do. Yeah. I'm very positive with the Sixers. I'm a very big Sixer fan. And so
yeah, well, it seems that you are. So you like Broom, huh?
Yeah, I like Broom. I like
What
him
do
when he was
you
in Auburn.
like about Broom on an NBA level now? Forget a summer league level. What do you think he'll do at an NBA level?
I think he can play well against vets because he's a 5-year player. He played college for 5 years.
Yeah.
And I think he has upside to be a rookie and play against vets because like he had that experience at college, and that can translate into pros, into the pro level.
Yeah,
So
I don't see
think
the
he's got
same
that
thing with Janai Broom that you do.
Oh, okay.
I just don't see
know.
it. I think he'll get eaten alive on an NBA level because of his lack of athleticism, and he's not that great of a shooter. I know he made a couple three-pointers. I get that, but he shot 27% from the college three-point line last year.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I just wanted to hear what you wanted to
Okay. All right. No,
You're a big
listen.
basketball guy.
It's fine that you think they have a bright future. I do not think they have a bright future. In fact, a little later, we're going to do like a little blending of a soundbite that was told to me by the president of basketball operations, and yet all of a sudden Kyle Lowry and Eric Gordon are members of this team. For reasons that are unclear to me, maybe somebody can explain it to me. Do you really need Kyle Lowry and Eric Gordon right now? How'd we get on the Sixers? 610-632-0975. Back after this.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Phillies fall at San Fran. I'm Ray Dunn with this Fanatic Sports Update. The West Coast swing got started with a loss to the Giants 3-1 late last night. The Phillies wasted a gem from Christopher Sanchez as the lineup went 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position. Ryan Kirkering allowed 2 runs in the bottom of the 8th. There was plenty of conversation surrounding the performance of home plate umpire Phil Cuzzy, who had a pair of misses during Bryce Harper's 8th inning at bat and 3 misses during Matt Chapman's at bat against Ryan Kirkering in the bottom half of that 8th inning. Harper talked postgame about Cuzzy.
He said the second one he had at my belt line, which I knew it wasn't. Obviously, that doesn't help us in those situations, and he's got to be better.
Tonight, it's Taijuan Walker on the mound against Robbie Ray at 9:45 as the Phillies try to bounce back from the loss last night. And last night, the Summer Sixers were in action. They fell 89-78 to the Thunder. His third overall pick, VJ Edgecombe, sat out the game with a thumb contusion. Yesterday, the 76ers also announced that they re-signed 39-year-old Kyle Lowry to a 1-year deal. The Flyers make an announcement yesterday that they gave Cam York a 5-year deal worth just over $5 million per year. This update is brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Get a wireless plan that saves you money and an extra trip. Switch to Straight Talk at your local Walmart while you shop for those little oranges the kids love. It's real unlimited data with real convenience. I'm Ray Dunn on the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
95, the Fanatic. What's the weather supposed to be like for today, Ray? We getting rain? Because in North Carolina, this big storm is coming our way.
Tremendous question. Thunderstorms possible after 4 p.m.
It's no good.
No.
Thunderstorms. More thunderstorms.
I did the old run from the beach to the rain, or from the rain yesterday.
Yeah, oh, you did?
Fun. Yeah, I saw the storm coming in. I was like, it looks like it's far enough off. I probably got another 15 minutes to sit here and read.
What the hourly forecast? Sun, 93, 93, 93. 7 p.m. chance of rain.
Oh, I got. What app are you using?
I'm looking at Philadelphia today. 55% chance of rain, but it's sunny. 95. It's sunny till 2 p.m., 3 p.m. Then clouds 4 p.m. and then 7 p.m. 40% chance of rain.
All right. Well, Weather Channel's got Bala-Cynwyd with thunderstorms at 4 o'clock.
I don't have that on my bingo card.
You want to compare notes? We'll come back tomorrow. We'll figure out which app we trust.
Well, since we can't see, we have no window here at all.
It could be thunderstorming right now. We'd have no idea.
Yeah, we're isolated here in this box.
Yeah. You don't get to see the outside world at all. You at least see people walk by.
See, the design of this was faulty, don't you think?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, why they have us looking out towards the open air?
I would love to see the Bala-Cynwyd skyline. People
don't know how we suffer here.
People
They
do
have
not.
to walk a mile for coffee. We got no sun.
Everyone else, I think their studios look out.
Yeah,
Everyone else here, I think, looks out somewhere.
Yeah,
You're just looking at me. I feel for you.
above my pay grade. You're listening to Mike Missanelli Show, though, on WPEN HD1, Burlington, Philadelphia, Beasley Media Group Station. And we're broadcasting live from the non-window-esque Comcast Business Studios, powering possibilities, but not powering sun possibilities.
No, you can't see what's going on outside ever.
All right, let's go to Reggie, our traveling truck driver, who's currently in Des Moines, Iowa, or as it says on my screen, Des Moines, Iowa. Reggie, you're a 97.5 The Fanatic. What's up, buddy?
Mike, Ray, how y'all doing?
How you doing?
Oh, man, real quick, when you were talking to Bob, I was listening. So Bob threw his thing at you on the Sixers.
Yeah.
And then I think he tried to get, have a nice day. And you go,
Hold it.
on, Bob.
Hold it.
Let's have a discussion.
Let's have a
I don't agree
discussion.
with you.
Yeah, I don't agree with Bob. Yeah, this young core. I go, what? Where's there a young core? VJ Edgecombe, McCain, Maxey, and Justin Edwards. That's your young core. Meanwhile, you got two guys that are ancient, two guys that were more than ancient that they just signed.
But on the Phillies, hold on. Let me do international phonetic spelling and pronunciation of this place in Iowa. So phonetically, it's DEMWAN, Des Moines, I think. And then using the American alphabet letters, it's DESMOINES, but that's French because letters that are unused in a word. And that's why people say Des Moines. They pronounce the two S's. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So we've been pronouncing it wrong the whole time?
I like Des Moines myself.
Des Moines.
Yeah, Des Moines.
All right.
Now, Ray said that, he asked, what is Rob Thompson's personality? I'm going to go a little bit different. What is the job description of the manager?
Leadership, no matter, by any means necessary.
Yes. Now, doesn't he, the manager, have the responsibility to go out and have a short conversation with the umpire? Because, the players in the moment perhaps might drop an F-bomb or any other words and get a warning and possibly
yes, and that's what I'm saying. In that situation, it behooved him to come out.
Behoove him to come out.
Yes.
And then, previous managers, Bobby Cox, Tony La Russa, they would go out there and they could have a conversation, and then what is the time limit? A minute or 2 minutes, then they have to get back to the dugout, right?
Listen, this is the way it should have gone. He should have gone out there, calmly said, you know what, that is horse bleed.
Yes.
And then if the guy comes back at him which he should not, because she should know that those were iffy calls. If your guy comes back, then you go crazy. And then you get thrown out. And then, and believe me, that wins points with your guys.
Yes, it does, because they know that they're giving effort, and he's backing their effort.
Exactly. They're fighting their way through an at-bat. He's fighting for them to survive the at-bat.
Yeah, but I think he's more like one of the dwarfs. Sleepy, in my opinion.
I think, listen, he's got his own personality, and you can't change your personality. But I'm saying in that particular situation, you should be so unnerved that you should do something about it, and that would really help out as far as backing your player. That's the only thing I'm saying. I'm not asking him to change his personality, to get some chip installed in his brain that would turn him into a maniac. I'm asking him to act accordingly.
Danny on the text line here takes this a different level from the mental of your manager to the entire team. Danny from Bucks County, stop blaming the umpires. The Phillies don't have the mental to win the championship. This core of players doesn't have it.
That's beside the point, man. We're talking about the current moment, okay? Yeah, I can sit here and agree with you that they're not strong enough to win a World Series. I don't believe they are. And especially with this Harper thing now. So I'm already on the record saying that unless he makes significant moves by the trading deadline, they are not World Series winning worthy. I'll be the first to tell you that. But in the moment of a game where you're trying to win game by game by game, you got to fight hard to win a game. And part of fighting hard is your manager makes a statement when when his guys are getting hosed. That's all I'm saying here.
Not to the talent on the field here. I think the comment there from Danny is more about the mental makeup of this group. That does not there. They don't have the championship it factor.
I don't even know what that is. You know, here's what championship it factor is. Well, your starting pitching can carry you, and your bull can get you through the 7th and 8th, and you got somebody who can get 3 outs in the 9th. That's a team. That's a team that can win. Now, right now, I don't have any confidence that the bullpen can do that. Or that their bullpen can get them there when they need to get them there in the 6th inning. When Ranger Suarez has to pitch 5 innings, you have to get to 6th, the 7th, the 8th before you get to the 9th. That's my problem. And my problem also is you can't get key hits with runners in scoring position. That's a major problem.
Oh, and those are all major problems.
But it's not the it factor. What is the it factor? I don't get what the it factor is. Every at-bat is different. You go up there and you're trying to get a hit. And some guys can deliver and some guys can't. And when some guys in left field can't deliver on a consistent basis, that kills you in your lineup. When some guys that can't do it at second base, that kills you at your lineup. You can't pass the baton, as they like to say.
No, and all those things are on the field concern. But when something like this happens, we go back to they didn't, go back at the Braves when they hit Harper.
Yeah,
something like this happens. Our fan base tends to have the conversation about whether this team has the makeup.
Yeah. Okay.
Not necessarily on the field, but the makeup off the field of a championship-winning team. Does it have championship-winning DNA? Like that type of conversation. Danny gets that. I see on our YouTube chat today, we've had some of those comments about this group that I think MP was the one that just put this out there. Bryce is taking on the manager's personality. ... Not good. Like, I think there are some people that see this as a reflection of who they are as a team.
I was thinking about that last night. Should Bryce have gotten thrown out of that game? Because we've seen him have the red buttocks, with that check swing. Remember that red buttocks?
Mm-hmm.
And what was everybody talking about? How fired up he is. That translates to the team. Maybe he had the responsibility to do something. 610-632-0975. Mike Missanelli Show continues.
The summer season.
11:10, Mike Missanelli Show. I just got my snack. I never get snacks. You can't beat the Cheez-It.
No, you can't.
Can't beat it. Original
Absolutely.
snack. This weekend, or last weekend, I watched Good Will Hunting again. Have you seen Good Will Hunting? Movie?
I'd like to say that I have.
But you have. See, here's the thing. This is what I'm getting to. I don't think Matt Damon is a very good actor.
Really?
Yeah. You know how many movies Matt Damon has done?
A lot.
He's done like 57 movies.
Wow.
I didn't think he was a good actor. However, in rewatching Good Will Hunting, I thought he did a pretty good job. In fact, I don't think he's replicated that performance since. And he was a kid when he did it. Now, think about that for a second. What has he been good in, really? How many Matt Damon movies have you seen?
I saw Interstellar.
Okay.
I'm going through his IMDb right now.
Yeah, I got it right here. So here's some. I'll just run them down. Starting with the most recent. The Investigators. If. Drive Away Dolls. Oppenheimer. Was he any good in Oppenheimer? I didn't see it.
I didn't see it.
Air.
Yeah.
I
mean, I don't think he was.
Bad movie.
Yeah, I don't think he was bad.
Thor.
Thor, yeah.
The Last Duel. Didn't see it.
Nope.
Stillwater. Didn't see it. None of these are sticking out to me as great performances, though. No Sudden Move. Now, Ford v. Ferrari wasn't bad, where he was Carroll Shelby, the race car driver, who built the car that won Le Mans. Deadpool. Didn't see it.
What did he do in Deadpool?
I don't know. He's in Deadpool. Unsane. Thor Ragnarok. Suburbicon. Downsizing. The Great Wall. Jason Bourne. Now, is he good in those Jason Bourne movies? I guess he is. I guess he's good as Jason
Your perspective
Bourne.
is better than mine on that one.
I haven't seen all of them. Maybe one of them I've seen. He wasn't bad. Martian. Interstellar. You think he was good in that?
I mean, it was fine. I guess the movie moved along with him. I can't say that I remember him as having this crazy.
Like I'm going through all these movies, and none of them are like pounding me over the head as these great performances by Matt Damon. The Monuments Men. There's the Zero Theorem. Elysium. Behind the Candelabra, where he was Liberace's. Was he his gay lover in that? I don't see that. Promised Land. We Bought a Zoo.
Great movie.
Contagion, which a lot of people like. I didn't see. The Adjustment Bureau. True Grit. Hereafter. Green Zone. Invictus. The Informant. Ponyo. Youth Without. What is that? Youth Without Youth. The Bourne Ultimatum. The Good Shepherd. The Departed. Now, was he good in The Departed?
We got a text immediately with The Departed.
Was he good in that movie, though? I mean, I liked the movie. I thought the movie was good. Leo DiCaprio was good. Was Damon good in it? No. Ocean's 11 and 12, he wasn't bad in. I don't know. Is he considered a good actor? Like, I'm trying to figure out. Like, Rounders was one of my favorite movies. He was pretty good in Rounders. Saving Private Ryan wasn't bad in Saving Private Ryan.
No, he wasn't bad in that.
Good Will Hunting, I thought, was his best performance, and it was when he was really young.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to... Oh, now we say this. I've seen Good Will Hunting.
Okay.
I was thinking of a totally different movie on that one.
With Robin Williams.
Yeah, he was really good at Good Will Hunting.
Yeah, he was really good at it.
I mean, that's a tremendous movie.
Yes. For what he had, the lines he had in that movie, I'm going, he's doing a pretty good job in this movie. But I really didn't think from that moment on that he was that great an actor. And he's done like 57 movies.
Yeah, we're getting some text on this. Matt Damon was good in the Bourne Identity movies. Those aren't, I haven't seen. Interstellar, I mean, he wasn't bad in Interstellar. This is another one that's popping up. Martian are great. Okay, Martian, How
about the talented Mr. Ripley?
Yeah, I missed out on that one.
All the Pretty Horses. Now, when you go way back, The Rainmaker was one of his early movies with that John Grisham book that he did. Was he in Field of Dreams? Did he have a part in Field of Dreams that's listed?
What was he? No, he was baseball fan at Fenway Park, uncredited.
Really?
I mean, that makes sense. Boston guy wanted to get into acting if he
Okay.
finds himself, How
about that? I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Mystic Pizza he was in?
And now you're really losing me here.
School Ties he was in. I remember that movie. That had Brendan Fraser in it.
I mean, I think
Where
it's
he played
really
a
hard
young student.
to top Good Will Hunting, though. Like, for the movie, it is.
And Good Will Hunting he did in 1997.
Some guys just peak early on that. Like, actors, athletes, life. Like, some people just find their peak early. Like, that's the best he probably could ever do.
In a lot of ways. Like, I find him, like, subordinate to even Tom Hanks.
Oh, I would
Like,
agree
as
with
an
that.
actor.
I would agree. I don't think that's a hot take at all.
Well, I look at Tom Hanks and I go, there's really two performances that he really impressed me in. And Damon, there's like two performances.
Well, I'm not going to use the word hate.
Yeah, I don't hate him.
You have a lesser appreciation for Tom Hanks than 99.5% of the
but
population.
See, people don't, that's not second level thinking. Like, they like Tom Hanks. That's why they think he's a good actor. But he has very little range.
The only people that dislike Tom Hanks more than you are people who have been impacted personally by his life. Someone that lost a girlfriend to him probably doesn't like him more than you.
No.
Someone that he didn't say hi to.
I think he's a better actor than Matt Damon.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
Again, I don't think you're throwing a scorcher out there. I don't know if you're necessarily throwing out the Marcus Hayes. There were no all-star snubs of takes.
Yeah,
right
it's
there.
not a hot take for me. I just don't think he's an upper echelon actor because he has a lack of range. I pigeonhole him into the Sleepless in Seattle type of actor. And he can't break out of that. Like, I always go, all right, this is the Sleepless in Seattle guy. He can't play a hitman in Road to Perdition. Can't.
Here's maybe
That's all
your
I'm
take
saying.
for Damon, because we're getting some feedback on the text line immediately.
Uh-huh.
John from Fishtown. I think Damon is mostly average actor with some great roles. Good Will Hunting, The Martian, True Grit were spectacular performances, but he's mostly just average.
I didn't see The Martian. That would be not my type of flick.
He's the type of guy that can be a role player on a good team.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, he goes off for 20, 25.
So
and you're like, oh, that's pretty good. You're like, oh, man, this guy can do something.
Is he TJ McConnell? Is that who he is? He's a scrapper? Or I don't see him as a scrapper either.
No, I don't see him as a scrapper. I see him as like...
Eric Bruntlett. I see him as an Eric Bruntlett.
No, Bruntlett, come on. Come on, that's tough. Eric Bruntlett, like that's...
He's an Eric
his OPS is over 600.
He's
Come
a
on.
little better than Eric Bruntlett.
No.
All right. Let's go back to the phones. We got Hal in Naples checking in. Hal, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. What's up, Hal?
Hey, how's it going, Mike?
Good, Hal. How you doing?
I wholeheartedly agree with you about. I listened a couple minutes ago about your rant about just horrible balls and call strikes in the Phillies top of the eighth.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Dude. So you get a man on first. Two horrible balls that were called strikes. So 0-2 with a man on first.
Yeah, you put the batter.
so
You
you're
put the batter in the hole. There's nothing worse than being in the hole.
Absolutely. Okay. Very much in the hole, and they don't really have to be. They free swingers anyway, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But anyway, okay. So it goes on and on. Couple bad calls, and there's chirping from the dugout. Okay, but nothing else. Okay.
Yeah.
They get up, and a couple of strikes right in the middle. Oh, ball. I'm like, what's going on here? When's he going to get the Quinones to get thrown out of a game here?
Yeah. Well, I think in that particular situation, he needed, like, after an at-bat, he needed to come out, or after that inning, he needed to come out and really give the umpire a piece of his mind and support his players.
When the Phillies were up, right?
Yeah. Yeah, at the end of that inning. Now, you don't do it after a second strike, like I said. But I'm telling you, if you look at the percentages on what your batting average is when you're in an 0-2 hole, I guarantee you that league-wide it's about $1.25. I'll bet you it is.
Yeah,
It's got to be close to that. When an umpire puts you in the hole, it's the worst possible thing you could have happen to you in an at-bat.
Yeah, and he just kept it up, too.
Yep.
How about and another thing, I didn't get on, it's been a while, but when Harper got hit in his arm against in the Atlantic Series
Yeah.
a month and a half ago, whatever it was,
Yeah.
why in the world they didn't beam somebody on Atlanta the next inning?
Well, that's what, if you listen to me, that would have been Ozzy Albies who led off that next inning. But a lot of people disagreed with that. Yeah, it's barbaric. What's that prove? Intentionally hit a guy. Well, it's a team-worthy aspect. 610-632-0975. Mike Missanelli Show continues.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Bills fall in the opener out in San Francisco. I'm Ray Dunn with this Fanatic Sports Update. The West Coast swing got started with a loss to the Giants 3-1 late last night. The Phillies wasted a gem from Christopher Sanchez as the lineup went 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position. Ryan Kirk allowed 2 runs in the bottom of the 8th. Plenty of conversation surrounding the performance of home plate umpire Phil Cuzzy, who had a pair of misses during Harper's 8th inning at bat, and then 3 misses during Matt Chapman's at bat against the Ryan Kirk ring in the bottom half of that 8th inning. Harper talked postgame about Cuzzy.
He said the second one he had at my belt line, which I knew it wasn't. But obviously, that doesn't help us in those situations, and he's got to be better.
Tonight, it's Taijuan Walker on the mound against Robbie Ray for the Giants. First pitch for that game at 9:45 as the Phillies try to bounce back out in San Francisco. Last night, the Summer Sixers were in action, fell 89-78 to the Thunder as third overall pick VJ Edgecombe set out the game with a thumb contusion. Yesterday, the 76ers also announced that they brought back Kyle Lowry on a 1-year deal. And the Flyers yesterday announced that they gave Cam York a 5-year deal worth just over $5 million per year. This update is brought to you by the International Hot Rod Association. Nitro's back. The IHRA Outlaw Nitro Series is lighting up the track. Nitro Nation, grab your tickets now at IHRA.com. That's IHRA.com. I'm Ray Dunn, the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
All the stars are just like little fish.
11:27, Mike Missanelli Show.
You should learn.
97.5, The Fanatic. I'm talking things Phillies. We'll get to the Sixers in a little bit. We'll have some Eagle chat coming your way a little later. And, of course, at 12 o'clock, the news at noon. Let me give you an example of like yesterday, what should have happened after the Harper at bat and the inning. Thompson comes out and goes, yeah, Phil, listen, a lot of these pitches aren't close, Phil. Listen, we're trying to win a ball game on the road here. We're trying to stay in the hunt to win a pennant here. You got help us out. You got to do a little better. And then if Phil Cousy comes back at you, then you escalate it a little bit. You got to button down, Phil. You got to button it down. You're hurting us. And then you go, no. And then you go crazy on him. You've been killing us all game, damn it. That's what and your players look at that and they go, no, he's fighting for us. He's fighting for us. Look at this. I like it. That's all.
I understand what you're saying.
You start out slow, and then you escalate. If Phil Cousy comes back at you. But you get your say in as a manager.
So earlier this season, Thompson got thrown out. I forget when, but he got thrown out. And I just remember watching him get thrown out. I was like, okay, this was the energy that this fan base would expect and want from their manager, even when he got tossed, was not there. Like, where does your expectation of Rob Thompson and what he's going to do to a manager or to an umpire eventually just change?
It's really not the point on like what it's going to bring you at that moment. What it's going to bring you for the long haul is a manager sticking up for his guys. That's all. That's all I'm saying. That's all I want out of this whole deal. All right, let's go back to the phones. We got Joe in Northeast Philly. Joe, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Joe.
Mike, what's going on?
What's
How
happening?
you doing, guys?
What's going on, man?
Well, I was going to talk about the balls and the strikes last night, but since the last caller kind of said most of what I was going to say, I don't want to waste your time.
Well, that's
so
okay. Say what you need to say.
Well, I did have two I had a backup, so I'm going to go with that, if you don't mind.
All right.
Unfortunately, I feel like this is, at least for this season, this might be the end of Bryce Harper, just for this season, because that wrist is not going to get better. It's either going to stay the same or it's just going to get worse. His swing looks freaking terrible. He's not even close. Like, I don't know if he's not also seeing the ball right or what, but that Bryce Harper is not the Bryce Harper.
I agree. Now, listen, you got to allow for timing to come back. When you haven't hit Major League pitching in a really long time, and you don't do a rehab, and you go batting practice pitchers or guys you call from the minor leagues, it's a little different than facing Major League pitchers. But I agree. I think it's in his head. He's already acknowledged that it didn't go away, right? So if you know it hasn't gone away, I don't know. Are you a golfer, Joe?
I am not. No.
Okay. Well, whatever you do, like if you're a run, whatever you do physically, you know if you take a certain step, it's going to hurt your hip or it's going to hurt your knee or whatever it is. You have an ailment. And so what happens in your brain is it prevents you from making that step. And I believe that that's in his head right now. The soreness is still there. It's not fully healed. Now, that doesn't mean he can't come back as a player. Maybe not this year. He can come back as Bryce Harper. But maybe in the offseason he gets a little surgery, a little tweak to it to fix it up. He comes back next year, fine. You know, he can't do it this year. You got to play with the whole thing this year.
Right. And then also, real quick, I just wanted to weigh in on this Matt Damon conversation.
Certainly.
He's one of my favorite actors. I mean, you're the gangster of all gangsters, right? Like we're the same. We love Goodfellas, right? We love the Bronx Tale.
Yeah.
Casino, all of them. The Departed, that was one of the best performances I thought he had, like, as an actor.
Yeah, he was pretty good in Departed. It's one of my favorite movies, but I thought that Leo outshone him in that movie big time.
100%. And the joke is neither of them won an Oscar for it. Mark Wahlberg did. So which is kind of weird, but
yeah, it is.
In a limited role that he had. But
Dignam.
Yeah. I mean, he was great in it. He was, but it was just like,
I can
He could've went to
investigate.
either of
I
the
can
other two guys.
investigate anybody I want. No, he was good in it. There's no question that
Yeah.
he was pretty good in Departed. Like I say, like how many memorable performances does Matt Damon have? I just brought it up because I thought Good Will Hunting, maybe I shortchanged him. I thought he was really good in like what the dialogue that he had to give, like the soliloquies that he had to give in Session with Robin Williams, or the one scene where he's got those snobby Harvard kids in the bar and he gives them an economics lesson. And he goes off and that's really hard dialogue to remember, man. And he pulled it off pretty good.
Is it maybe safe to say he's a good Robin? No pun intended with Robin Williams there. Like he's a good, if he has a very strong lead with him,
Maybe
that can carry a movie.
I don't know. I thought he was better than Robin Williams in it. Robin Williams was pretty good in it.
Robin Williams is really good.
Yeah,
in
but
that.
I thought Damon, like when I watched it again and really paid attention to every scene, I said, man, he carried this movie, and he was a young kid at the time. And then I go, he really didn't progress that much to be a serious actor, and maybe he didn't want to, because he's kind of ambivalent about the whole Hollywood thing.
Yeah, we got a text that was like, yeah, the best thing he's done is everything with Jimmy Kimmel. It's like, all right, well, if the best you're doing is everything you do with Jimmy Kimmel, like, with all due respect.
Yeah, he can do that quirky off the movie type of stuff.
Yeah.
Where he byplays with somebody like George Clooney or whatever, and Jimmy Kimmel. I get it. But if you look at his movies, none of them are really that memorable.
No. And I think that might play to he's better, like he needs another great actor next to him.
Yeah.
You know? That's not a slight. It's
Yeah,
just
like,
there's only
know,
so many actors that where it's like that guy's in a movie or that woman's in a movie, they're going to elevate this movie to something incredible.
Exactly. Like in Ocean's 11, you hardly know he's there because there's so many other great actors that are overpowering him.
And maybe that's the best thing for him. Where it's like, oh, wow, Matt Damon was actually pretty decent in that movie. And it's like, yeah, he was pretty decent in that movie, but he wasn't the driving force of that movie.
Yeah.
Maybe
Did you
that's
see Ocean's 11?
No. That was my way of turning the conversation elsewhere. Come on.
Ocean's 11. You've never seen that movie. I swear to God, Ocean's 11.
Or 12.
Must be on television. Well, forget 12 or 13 or 8.
14. 25.
Ocean's 11 is on TV probably more than any movie ever.
Is it?
Yeah. It's always on. It's on almost every night somewhere.
Really?
Yeah. Oh. And so for you to miss it, it's like phenomenal.
Well,
it's a very entertaining movie. Very entertaining. I think you would really enjoy it.
Let's see. Oh, from New Jersey too. It's New Jersey based. Is it?
New Jersey based. It's in Las Vegas.
Danny Ocean's man of action, less than 25 parole from New Jersey Penitentiary. Oh, all right.
Yeah, George Clooney is Danny Ocean.
Danny Ocean.
But Brad Pitt, they go beautifully together, Clooney and Pitt.
All right, maybe I'll give this one a shot.
And what's her name? Roberts is in it.
Julie Roberts?
Yeah, Julie Roberts.
Streaming? Where's this streaming here? Because
all kinds of actors are in this. Bernie Mac has a role in it.
Where can I watch?
Elliot Gould. The classic actor Elliot Gould's in it.
Wow, it is really that good because you have to pay
Carl
for it.
Reiner. You have to pay for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's on all the time.
Yeah, on television. Talking about watching it on streaming.
Streaming? You have to pay for it?
Yeah, because the times that it's on right now are Saturday night and Friday night coming up, and I can assure you, as great a movie as it is, I'm going to have other plans.
You don't have a video recorder of some sort?
Yeah, probably
a video
DVR.
recorder?
Yeah, I guess I could DVR it.
Yeah? Could you do it?
Probably. I think YouTube TV lets
watch
you
it.
DVR.
I'm telling you, you'll really like it.
All right.
It's a caper. It's a caper. 610-632-0975 is how you climb into the show. Daryl Morey, he told me face-to-face, well, not face-to-face, but in a telephone conversation, that they made a mistake signing older players. So what did he turn around and do? We'll get to that after this.
Kincade.
0975, text or call. We'll have a combo. What's going on with the Phillies right now? We're going to go over the Ray Dunn trust numbers in just a little bit. But let's move it on quickly to the Sixers here before we get back to our phone calls. Daryl Morey, so many months ago. When was it that we talked to Daryl Morey, Ray?
This was post-deadline, so February.
All right, in February. I tried to put him on a griddle on a few issues. And one of the issues that I griddled him about was how he had signed these old role players that brought nothing to the team. I had mentioned that to him at the start of training camp. Well, what's the deal with these older guys? You tried to do that last year and it didn't work out, and it didn't work out again this year. And so I asked him about it, and here was his answer.
We know that older role players generally impact the playoffs more. I should have factored in more is these periods where the players are out. They don't carry you through them as much as we needed. And so that's why at this deadline we got younger and more dynamic. I do think that is an area that I should have done a better job.
Why, then, would you waste your time bringing back Kyle Lowry and Eric Gordon? Well, here's the reason they're going to give you. Well, Kyle's like a coach on the floor, and he and Nick Nurse go way back, and he can help them. Really? That's the most overrated thing that I've ever heard about an NBA basketball team, that you have to have some veteran guy that just sits there and gets hurt every other game and then sits on the bench. You have 17 assistant coaches. You need another coach? And the same with Eric Gordon. You need Eric Gordon to babysit VJ Edgecombe? You think Eric Gordon at his age is interested in babysitting VJ Edgecombe? He doesn't want to do that. He just wants to play and collect a paycheck. You overvalue the influence of older players who no longer can play, and you're wasting roster spots when you could be developing young energy. It makes me crazy. Am I out of line with this?
No. One of those two, I'd say, okay, you're doing the mentorship thing. You shouldn't have it with the roster the way it's constructed. You really shouldn't go anywhere in this world with one. But I'll take one. Two of them is inexcusable.
How many mentors does this team need? These are professional players. They have a coaching staff. They have guys who are assistants who bond with every player for advising and coaching. And like, why do you need these older players?
You don't. And that's the biggest slap in the face of getting older here. Or getting younger. When he says getting younger, getting more athletic, and then going back and bringing these two players back. And it seemed like Eric Gordon, when the mutual interest was reported, was that they were just going to get him at a lower cap hit and increase his salary to what it would have been. But when you do that, Kyle Lowry can't be in the plans. You're giving two roster spots to two players who showed you last year their age on a roster you said you wanted to get younger. They've gotten older.
He just got done telling me that they made a mistake. And he does the same thing. All right, I'm out. I'm done with the Sixers.
I got to tell you, Mike, when I got that notification yesterday that Lowry was re-signing, all I could think about was, I just can't wait to team Mike up about this tomorrow.
Enough is enough now. Kyle Lowry is finished. All due respect, he's had a great career. He's been a leader at every... He can't play anymore. Neither can Eric Gordon. Move on. All right. Let's go to Richard in Packer Park. Richard, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Richard.
Do you know that this Phil Cousy got fired years ago? I did some research on him a while back.
Really? He did get fired?
Yes. It's very hard to get fired, as you know, as an umpire. I don't know how. Two, I don't know why he got, how he must have done something so egregious, and how the heck he got back. The only thing I can think of is maybe he's got mob connections, Mike.
No, I don't know if he's got mob connections. Come on, man. That's a stereotype. Why, because his last name ends in an I?
You know I'm Italian.
Yeah, I understand that.
Michael, you know that I'm Italian.
They got a powerful lobby. That's why he got back. They got a powerful union.
Michael, could you listen to me 1 second, Michael?
Yeah, go
please.
ahead.
You know I'm Italian-American full-blooded, right? So I'm not, I have that, I'm like Chris Rock. I can talk.
Yeah,
I'm being facetious. I'm being facetious.
I got it.
But, I mean, how could this guy hold a job? Like, he's totally, I've seen umpires miss a call. Everybody misses calls, but 3 in a row. I've never, it's almost like you had a bet on
He
the
missed
game.
20 yesterday. Now, normally he's not that bad. He's not one of the guys that people complain about. No, really. Now, he had a bad night last night, and a bad night, that should have been emphasized by the manager.
What do you mean?
The manager should have come out and emphasized how bad of a night he was having. When his players were standing there getting hosed, and the manager was I don't know what he was doing in that dugout. Get your ass out of the dugout and confront the guy.
No, I agree with you, but his angle he can't see, but he still should.
He can see. They got a TV right in front of him. They can see every pitch.
All right, okay. I'm with you, Mike. I'm trying to be facetious about.
I got you. I hear you.
But he got fired. I wish that people would look into it. I don't know how he got fired.
Okay.
It's hard to get fired.
Right. You're on that, right. You're on that firing. Phil Cousy got fired, and he got back in. I wasn't aware of that. I don't pay that much attention to these umpires. They got a whole new crop of umpires that have come in. So the older guys have been farmed out. And he's 70 years old now. He should probably say, it's time for me to retire. Because his perspective on those pitches was so far off. I mean, he was missing balls and strikes by a foot last night. And so right away, robo umpires, we can't get them quick enough. Yeah, I agree. With the technology, you don't need a home plate umpire anymore. You need a home plate umpire to just hang around and make a call out and safe at the plate.
So the best I got for you on Phil Cousy being fired is umpiring. This is according to Wikipedia, so it's got to be just pristine.
Right.
Umpiring career temporarily came to a halt in 1993. He had advanced to AAA baseball and served as a Major League Baseball reserve umpire. However, although he had done well, by 1993 there were no full-time Major League slots for him, and he was released. As he subsequently worked as a substitute teacher and bartender. While working at a hotel bar in 1996, he had a chance to meet with NL president Len Coleman, who allowed him to resume umpiring if he would work his way back up from the low minor leagues. He made his way back to the NL working 49 games in 1999 and was promoted to the full-time Major League staff in 2000.
Okay, so he wasn't really fired for being bad.
There was no room for him.
Yeah, there was no room for him.
But I do love that it does throw in there. However, although he had done well, who wrote this Wikipedia? Like, who wrote this entry?
He's been a popular umpire. He really has. He's always engaging with players and the whole thing. I think for the most part they like him. It's not like Angel Hernandez, who they despised.
He's 70.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point, you just, your job is to see.
Well, he started late, so he wants to catch that paycheck still.
He's got, 25 years in the mix if he was there in 2000?
Yeah.
So
do
hell of
I,
a career,
frankly.
man.
Yeah, so do I. So I'm still doing it anyway. I'm the Phil Cousy of sports talk.
Yeah,
but I'm not missing many calls.
I was going to say,
I'm not missing the calls.
The scorecard came out here from last night. I don't think you're having that bad of a day, Mike.
No, you're right. 610-632-0975. Mike Missanelli Show continues.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Bills fall in San Francisco. I'm Ray Dunn with this Fanatic Sports Update. The West Coast swing got started with a loss to the Giants 3-1 late last night. The Phillies wasted a gem from Christopher Sanchez as the lineup went 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position. Orion Kirkland allowed 2 runs in the bottom of the 8th. Plenty of conversation surrounding the performance of home plate umpire Phil Cousy, who had a pair of misses during Harper's 8th inning at bat, and then 3 misses the bottom half of that inning where Matt Chapman was up against Orion Kirkland. Here's Harper talking postgame about Cousy.
He said the second one he had at my belt line, which I knew it wasn't. Obviously, that doesn't help us in those situations, and he's got to be better.
Tonight, it's Taijuan Walker on the mound for the Phils against Robbie Ray for the Giants. 9:45 start for that game out in San Francisco. Last night, the Summer Sixers were in action. They fell 89-78 to the Thunder as third overall pick VJ Edgecombe sat out with a thumb contusion. Yesterday, the 76ers also announced they brought back Kyle Lowry on a 1-year deal, and the Flyers announcing they've given Cam York a 5-year deal worth just north of $5 million per year. This update's brought to you by Allstate. Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate. I'm Ray Dunn on the home of the 76ers, Flyers, and Union. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
And coming up at 12 is the news at noon on the Mike Missanelli Show. So before we get there, let's get to Vince in Harrisburg who's checking in with us. Vince, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. What's up, buddy? Hello, Vince. Where's Vince? Is Vince there?
Hello.
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 Vince! Vince!
Yes, I'm here.
There you go. Go ahead, Vince.
I'm so sorry.
That's
Mike,
all right.
welcome back to the air.
Thank you, buddy.
Life was not the same without you. The one question I have to ask you, and I know that athletes aren't the same anymore. Does this team need like a Pete Rose, like not the hits, not anything like that, but somebody just to put a little fire in here? I know that sounds old-timey, but is that something that this team, are they too comfortable?
I mean, I don't know who that would be. So, no, my answer would be no. They have enough veteran leaders on this team to be able to pull this off. Maybe Harper needs to be a little more assertive that way, but you can only be assertive if you're playing well, and he's not in a groove right now. So, no, I don't think that that leadership, that Pete Rose thing, is the problem in this day and age.
Okay. Now on to the Eagles.
Yes.
The question that I have is, with the faith that we now put in Vic, right, with the defense and things like that, do you let's say that 40% of the young guys that they're bringing in actually perform? Is that going to be enough?
I have great faith in Fangio and his system. And I saw the way he handled guys last year and how he utilized guys and how he brought out the best in guys. I just think he has that knack. And I also think, like, younger players are even better for him. Veteran players sometimes he'll brush against. Like guys like GJ, I don't think was one of his guys. Huff obviously wasn't one of his guys. Young guys have no choice but to listen for PT. And I think he's going to be good at that.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, man. You got it, Vince. But, he wanted to tell me about Matt Damon, too, but he forgot.
He forgot because he didn't believe it that strongly.
He said Matt Damon. No, he said it on the board. Is Matt Damon is good in a lead role.
That's what I'm saying. Did he believe it that strongly? If he believed that strongly, he would have hit you over the head with it.
Matt Damon. All right, so let's give him credit for 5. Let's give him Good Will Hunting. Let's give him The Departed. Let's give him. Well, this is where I run out. What are we going to give him? The Bourne Conspiracies?
Yeah.
We'll give him the Jason Bourne
stuff
situation,
yeah.
and then where do you go?
Oh.
Where do you go? Where he really burned it up? Interstellar, I didn't see. You're going to vouch for that? All right,
sure.
I'll go Interstellar. Didn't see it. All right, that's what I'm saying. He's done 57 movies. You get to 3 and you go,
What's a good batting average for you? like for movies?
It's got to be 600.
600?
Yeah, I think 600 would be a good batting average.
So really, you want your actor to be like a rim-running center, where their shooting percentage is about 60.
Yeah, that's fair, isn't it?
I think that's fair.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the greats of the great. You know who they are, whether they're 600 or not. I'm talking about evaluating other actors, like the rung below the Tom Hanks. I got Tom Hanks in like a second level tier. Below that, the third level tier, that's where the Damons would be.
So Damon's a third tier guy for you.
Right.
Got it. I don't hate the take. I mean, to be honest with you.
But I'm just trying to figure out, okay, what sticks out to people when they see Matt Damon. I think they like him. I think he's a likable actor. But I don't know what movies blow me away. They go, man, that was really a great performance. Good Will Hunting was for me. The Departed, yeah, it was, but secondary to Leo.
Is he more at this point famous than
maybe
an actor?
Maybe he is more famous than an actor.
Like he's famous for acting, but at this point he's more of a celebrity than he is
a good call
a working actor or a top-tier actor.
It's a pretty good call. The Martian, people like that? I didn't see that. What was that?
I think they were trying to get him back from Mars, if I remember. I think that is actually a movie that I've seen.
The Martian?
I mean, I didn't put that one up on the screen, so I'm not necessarily saying that's top 5. I mean, if it's in his top 5, it probably shows you more.
You saw that?
I think it came out like 2015.
Yeah.
Like, I think that was like prime, we're just going to turn on a movie here.
So you think you saw it, it didn't make enough impression on you to know that you saw it.
Well, most movies don't, to be clear, because my attention span of movies is...
Oh, really? Yeah. Is that what it is? Is that what prevents you from movies? Your attention span?
I just think if the story doesn't grab me like crazy. Oh, I did see this. Yeah, now going through this. Yeah, I did see it.
All
yeah,
right, so it didn't stick out to you.
It's a fine movie, but like if
is it a great movie?
It's
like
certainly
Bill
not a great movie. It's a fine movie. If it's in his top 5, I think that tells you more about his top 5.
All right, it's 12 noon. It's the Mike Missanelli Show. You're listening on WPN HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia, Beasley Media Group station, and we're broadcasting from the Comcast Business Studios, powering possibilities. It is now time, ladies and gentlemen, for lunchtime, but also the news at noon.
There's a whole lot going on in this world. It's time to catch up. Here's the news at noon. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
We'll start with a little baseball action that involves Aaron Boone and the Yankees. Right, Ray?
Yes, it does. Why are we talking about the Yankees? I just think it's funny to listen to Ken Rosenthal talk about Yankees fans' complaints about Aaron Boone and line them up with complaints we hear here. So here's Rosenthal addressing Aaron Boone and everything that's been said about him the last couple days in New York, because obviously the Yankees are struggling and he is being criticized for it.
So here are the Yankees, again, losers of 16 of 23. Aaron Boone tells the players after the 4-game sweep in Toronto, according to Jazz Chisholm Jr., that we're the best team in the league. And fans, as they often do, are going nuts about that comment and about Boone in general, as they have in the past, because the perception of many Yankee fans is that Boone isn't tough enough. He isn't a guy who holds players accountable enough. At least that is true in his public comments when you're looking at this from the outside. What is going on the inside, we don't know. And I want to focus on this today because when fans talk about getting a new manager, we want a new manager, we want a more fiery manager. Well, okay, but guess what? Those managers don't really exist anymore. Think about this for a minute. Name a manager right now who holds players publicly accountable. I can't think of any who do that. Ron Washington of the Angels, when he's managing, and he's now, of course, on medical leave, is probably the closest to that. But other than that, they're pretty much all the same personality.
Yeah, well, he's right about that. Manager, see, the salaries have gone up so high that managers no longer have the hammer. They just don't have the hammer. So there's more of a when you're tough on players, you air them out in public. It's the worst thing you can do. They get the red butt with you, and then they quit on you. You can't risk that as a manager. Now, Aaron Boone goes crazy half the time, so I don't know what they're talking. Like, what do they mean? Like, he's a guy that would have definitely come out and got thrown out of the game when Phil Cousy did that last night in the Phillies. So
Probably.
What do they want?
I don't know. What do they want? What do fans want from your manager in that one? I think it's interesting just to hear them have that same complaint about holding guys publicly accountable and just realize the fact that that's not necessarily what happens. It's not the same as last night.
And it doesn't work either. And that's why the managers aren't like that, like the old Billy Martin, fiery, rip him into your player. That doesn't happen anymore. Players make too much money. They tune you out. And most smart managers know that. You got to keep a clubhouse calm and having them believe that you believe in them. That's the secret of a manager. Other than that, it's not that much brain surgery.
Also, is it that egregious for the manager of the team that won the American League last year to tell his guys, even though they're going through a slump, that they're the best team in baseball?
I think that's the best thing you could do, actually. I really think it's the best thing you could do. Now, if you want to light up a guy for not hustling, not running in front of whatever, you can do that. But the fact of the matter is you want to keep their confidence level up. You want to make them believe that you believe in them. Because that brings confidence to the plate and in the field and on the mound.
All right, moving on here at number 2. Podcast P. Not talking anything about the 76ers, but Paul George had Jim Jackson, and no call. Not no call.
Oh, no.
The former basketball player.
He didn't have that Jim Jackson on.
He did not have that Jim Jackson.
Podcast P's missing good content.
Well, maybe that'll be the next one. We'll send something over to their team about having Jim Jackson on. Jim Jackson, the former basketball player, went on the show and shared a good...
Former Sixer.
A good trash-talking story with one Michael Jordan.
Mike said, man, you can't guard me. I said, Mike, you can't guard me. End of the game, I ended with 33, right? Mike had 37. We lost. We're going through the handshake line, and Joe went up to Mike and said, man, you leave my young fella alone. He said, man, JJ my guy, but just tell him that's why he's wearing my shoes.
Tell him that's why he's wearing my shoes.
Yeah, well,
is an all-time line.
It is pretty good. You can't come back from that.
However, would you ever dream of trash-talking someone whose shoes you were wearing at that time because you open up yourself exactly to that moment.
Well, he did score 33 against him. He said, Mike, you can't stop me either. That's a great comeback.
But you lost the game.
Jim Jackson. That's all right. He scored 32. You can't stop me either, Mr. Defense.
Just
I like
saying.
that going back at Jordan that way. JJ, my guy.
If you're wearing his shoes, though, I feel like you kind of open yourself up to the world of, yo, man, like.
Yeah, but it's not like you took his shoes off his shelf. You happen to be wearing the brand because you liked it. Michael Jordan didn't sew those shoes together, did he?
I don't think so. No.
You know who
know.
sewed them together? Kids making 10 cents an hour. That's who sewed it together.
True. I do think, though, if you're wearing someone else's brand, like, clothes, to trash talk them, you leave yourself very vulnerable.
Well, you did, but you still scored 33 against him.
And lost.
So you can tell podcast P, I scored 33 against Michael Jordan.
And then you get that clip out there into the world, and we play it here on the Mike Missanelli Show.
That is
so
correct.
a good day for you all around.
There you go. No call!
Last one for you. The Pacers obviously still dealing with the fallout of Tyrese Halliburton tearing his Achilles. They had their president of basketball operations, Kevin Pritchard, speak with the media, and he was asked about whether the Pacers considered not playing Halliburton in Game 7 and all that went into the talk around his calf strain and whether he could tear his Achilles.
We probably had 20 hours of calls and discussions, and, you know, the doctors, and we went to sort of the guy that's the best in the business, O'Malley, and he said it's a low probability. So I was in this unbelievable, stressful balance of how do you tell a kid you can't play in Game 7 after you played in Game 6 and didn't have it? And that was the real kind of turning point, because he played with it. And we felt we were a little bit out of the woods, and we weren't, obviously, with me telling him you can't play in Game 7. And he's told me many times, this just shows you what kind of kid he is. I would do it over and over. And if you're asking me, would I have him do it over and over? I would not. I would not. If I knew that he was going to get hurt, I would sacrifice that game.
Well, wait. If you knew he was going to get hurt, I would hope you wouldn't have done it over.
Right. So the qualifier there is ridiculous, because Halliburton saying he would do it all over again without the knowledge of it happening. Nobody would sign up to get hurt if they knew they were going to lose and he would get hurt.
Exactly. So he was in a tough spot. There's no question it was stressful, because the whole world wanted, the whole Indiana Pacer world wanted Halliburton to play. He wanted to play the whole thing. If he doesn't, if he holds them out of the game, they lose. It's like he's the GOAT forever. So you had to trust it at that point. It just so happened, unfortunately, it happened. Kevin Pritchard, interesting name. Goes back into my long, illustrious history of covering college basketball, right? 1988 National Championship game. Kansas beats heavily favored Oklahoma. Who was the coach of Kansas?
That time? Right now.
Larry Brown. Oh, Larry Brown was the coach of Kansas. And who was the starting point guard for the Kansas Jayhawks?
Kevin Pritchard.
Oh, it's Kevin Pritchard. Who was the starting point guard for the Oklahoma Sooners?
I do not know.
Mookie Blaylock.
Wow. Did not think we were going to talk about
610-632-0975. We're back after this.
ESPN's Adam Schefter.
Show 97.5, The Fanatic, 610-632-0975. We're talking mostly Phillies. We touched on the Sixers, and we're going to get into the Eagles in a little bit with an interesting little premise that I saw in the Philly Voice today of the anti-quarter century team for the Philadelphia Eagles. We went over the whole half-century team with the good players, and now we'll go over the players that didn't quite make it, which I think it's interesting and funny.
I think it's a great list.
Yeah, it is. But in the meantime, let's go back to the phones. A lot of folks have been hanging on for a while. Let's go to Skip in North Philly first. Skip, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. What's on your mind today, Skip?
Mike and Ray, what's up?
How you doing?
Ray, I just had a great conversation about you yesterday, bro.
Me?
What was the conversation about?
About Ray.
Yeah, what was it?
Yeah, Mike Morak is one of my good friends.
Oh, I love Mike.
So I'm the coach of that FOE team with the Warriors Twins every year.
I can't wait then. We got, what, a month?
Yeah. We got something special lined up again this year.
Looking forward to it.
Hey, so Mike, right? So I know you don't like the Eric Gordon signing.
No.
But that's VJ. That's VJ's guy, and I know you kind of like sour on it, and I kind of.
Yeah. So what's he going to do? Is he supposed to hold VJ the Edgecombe's hand the whole time? Like, what? I don't understand why.
I actually think VJ's going to live with him.
Oh, good. So they need somebody to live with him. Like that's the thing. Like he can't live with another player. Like, I mean, come on. Let's be serious about this, Skip. Do we really need Eric Gordon?
No, I understand what you're saying, Mike.
What's this? It's a pop? You know, like, come on. Like, we don't need this anymore. We don't need these old veteran guys who aren't going to contribute.
And you don't think it's cool that they re-sign Lowry so he can retire here?
No, I don't think it's cool. Kyle Lowry is finished. All due respect to the guy, he can't help you anymore.
One last thing, Mike, and I think we both can agree on this. We all might be a little bit down on that team, but if you look around the East, it's wide open.
See, everybody says it's wide open. You tell me who the Sixers are better than. And I want you to project now.
Well,
because
right now, without Halliburton.
But you're projecting it. You're projecting Embiid and Paul George to be good. How do you project that?
Mike, I just said it. If they healthy, Mike.
But you know, Skip, they're not going to be healthy. Skip, they're not going to be healthy. How could they possibly be healthy? Oh, he's not there anymore. How could they possibly be healthy? What magic elixir is going to make them healthy? This misguided notion, this genie in a bottle, this puff of smoke that comes out of the Vatican, that all of a sudden is going to cleanse the Sixers, and they're all going to be healthy now. Embiid's going to be great. He's going to play 65 games, and he's going to be stalwart in the playoffs. And Paul George has the desire to play here, and he's not going to get hurt ever again. What is going wrong with you people? This misguided notion. They take you down the downward spiral, down the drain. Again. But, Mike, they have a young core. Your sister has a young core. I can't take it anymore, Ray. I swear to God, I can't take it. B.J. Edrum needs a hand holder. Kyle Lowry needs to be there for what reason? Because Nick Nurse thinks he's a coach on the floor. He's never going to get on the floor. He's 39 years old. He can no longer play at this level, nor can Gordon. What's the reason that you sign him? Right?
You're looking for me to give you a reason? I already told you. I think having two vets here that are just here to serve as mentors is too much for this roster. And
these guys are. You want me to be hardcore about this? These two guys are still playing because they thieving. That's what they're doing. They're taking a paycheck at the tail end of their life to get some more money to put in their kick. That's what they're doing. They're thieving.
You don't think anyone else would sign these two players?
No.
Really?
Who would sign them? Who's going to sign Kyle Lowry?
I think there is a role out there for Kyle Lowry like this somewhere else.
Games. He can't even last 20 games anymore.
But I'm not telling you that I think someone's signing him to be a player. I think someone.
They got 17 assistant coaches.
I'm not telling you that this is a move I wanted to make. You asked me if he's thieving. That's where I'm going with this. I think there's someone else.
They're both thieving for a couple more $1 million.
I think there would be another team that would say, hey, we have a roster spot. We've got a young guard.
Mentor him. Mentor him by not playing. Mentor him by, LeBron mentors people because he's still effective.
Ike, I'm not disagreeing with you that these two roster spots being taken up by people who are mentoring.
This president of basketball operations told me not once, but twice he made a mistake in signing older players because they can't get through a regular season. Got me heated up now. Now I'm all heated.
Sixers conversation tends to do that to you, Mike. I'm thinking if we talk to your doctor, they would say, hey, 1 or 2 of the Sixers segments a day. All right? I don't think it's good for your overall health to do too many Sixers conversations.
Listen, I'm down on the whole process. I'm sorry. And they're down on me as well down there because they don't want to deal with me. And that's fine. I call it the way I see it, man. Okay? This genie in a bottle notion to the Sixers because the East is weak are going to be a contender is insulting. And the fact that you signed 2 older players whose combined age almost reaches 80. 610-632-0975. Back after this.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Bills fall out in San Francisco. I'm Ray Dunn with this Fanatic Sports Update. The West Coast swing got started with a loss to the Giants 3-1 late last night. The Phillies wasted a gem from Christopher Sanchez as the lineup went 0 for 6 with Burns in scoring position. Ryan Kirker allowed 2 runs in the bottom of the 8th. There was plenty of conversation surrounding the performance of home plate umpire Phil Cuzzy, who had a pair of misses during Harper's top of the 8th inning at bat, and then 3 misses during Matt Chapman's bat against Ryan Kirker in the bottom of the 8th inning. Harper talked postgame about Cuzzy.
He said the second one he had at my belt line, which, I knew it wasn't. So I couldn't say much more. I didn't want to. I didn't really say anything to him when I walked off the first time on the strike 3. That was up. I just told him he missed it. So I respect Phil. I like Phil a lot. But obviously that doesn't help us.
Tonight, it's Taiwan Walker on the mound against Robbie Ray at 9:45. Last night, the Summer Sixers were in action and fell 89-78 to Thunder's third overall pick. VJ Edgecombe sat out with a thumb contusion. Yesterday, 76ers also announced they brought back Kyle Lowry on a 1-year deal. The Flyers gave Cam York a 5-year deal yesterday worth just north of $5 million a year. This update is brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Get a wireless plan that saves you money and an extra trip. Switch to Straight Talk at your local Walmart while you shop for those little oranges the kids love. It's real unlimited data with real convenience. I'm Ray Dunn, the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
It's Mike Missanelli Show. It's 12:25 on 97.5, The Fanatic. Okay, before we get back to the phones, Jerome's hanging on from Sicklerville. Let's just go over the trust factor that we did earlier in the program, according to Ray Dunn, and his trust of Phillies players right now, from 1 to 10. Bryce Harper, you had as a 7.
That's true.
I have below that. I have a 6.5 because I am not sure that we're going to see that much from Bryce Harper because of this wrist thing.
Yeah, that's the only reason why he's that low for me.
Trey Turner, you had as a 9.
Ooh, 8. You had as a 9.
Oh, I had as a 9. You had as an 8.
8.
All right, I have a solid 9 for Trey Turner. I got no problems with him at all. Schwarber, you had as a 10.
That's true.
Bohm, 6.
I don't think I got a number from you on Bohm.
Bohm for me is a 7. I'm not as down on Bohm as a lot of people. I like the way he fields his position. Castellanos, 6. That's fair, I guess. Real Muto, 5. Stott, 4. You had 4 for Bryson Stott.
Correct.
Kepler, 3. Marsh, 5 you had. I forgot Rojas. What's your number for him?
3 probably as well.
All right, 3 for Rojas along with Kepler. That's not good. You got Marsh at 5, Rojas at 3, Kepler at 3. That ain't good, Ray. Luzardo, 6.5. Nola, right in the middle at 5 you had. Kerkering, 7.5. Fair. Strami, 7. Romano, 6. I'd have to go down a notch and go 5 there. Banks, 6.5. He's impressing you a little bit.
Especially in his role.
Okay, so tonight, ladies and gentlemen, game 2, and I believe, Ray, this is a big game for you because when we did this before, I believe you had the Phillies taking 2 or 3 in this series.
Yeah.
So tonight, it depends on Taijuan Walker as your starting pitcher against Robbie Ray, who's 9-3 with a 2.68 ERA. The Giants are minus 155 tonight against Taijuan Walker.
I mean, that feels right.
And you know what? This is your right-handed hitting lineup. So at the bottom of the order tonight, Kemp, Sosa, Rojas. Right?
That should be it. Now, to that point real quick, where you had me taking 2 or 3 here.
Mm-hmm.
Just because that, I believe, was the conversation we had after the Pirates series, where they had lost 5 in a row. They got swept by Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I had them 17-14 before the break.
I believe you did. Yes, sir.
I think, let's see. They've won 7-1, 7-2, 10-2, 10-3, 11-3, 11-6, 12-6, 12-7, 14-7. They've hit the 17-win threshold, I believe.
They have.
Since that time. Or they're close to it. So
the heat's off you then.
Right. Well, I'm just saying, I think they ended up, the stretch that they've had since that time, because I remember people like, you're crazy optimistic. They've lost 5 in a row. They just got swept by the Pirates.
Yeah.
They've played better to that level. Now, they're in a terrible spot right now with the fact that they have to throw out Taijuan Walker tonight, already a game down.
You don't like him tonight, do you?
No. If I were like you, I would be...
you would be betting the Giants minus 1.5 runs?
Yeah, I would. I would.
Which I've already done.
I'm not surprised at all. Kind of figured that's where this conversation was headed.
All right, let's get back to the phones. Jerome in Sicklerville, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Jerome.
How you doing, Mike?
What's happening, Jerome?
Hey, listen, everything you said about Maury and the 76ers was right on spot. I've been waiting to hear that. I can't figure out what's wrong with people. 76ers are the most slow-footed team in the NBA. Daryl Morey does not know how to build a team. He drafts pretty well, but he doesn't know how to build a team. And for us to take 2 roster spots to codify and cuddle our draft picks is asinine.
It's ridiculous.
It's crazy.
It really is ridiculous.
It's totally ridiculous.
It is.
And
It
you know
is
what
so
reminds me of?
overrated to do stuff like this.
You know what it reminds me of? I could never figure out why they kept Giannis's brother because they drafted Giannis.
Yeah.
What's wrong with athletes? If I'm going to pay you $240 million and say, well, we can't keep your brother because he's just taking up a spot.
Yeah.
But do you want the $240 million? I mean, it's crazy. And I'll tell you this right now: the Sixers will never win with Daryl Morey. He should be fired, and he shouldn't be let back in his office. His stuff should be shipped to his house.
Well,
and I'm glad you said.
I said that after last year that I didn't think he deserved to hold his job. In fact, I told him that directly, that I didn't think that that staff should have come back. But they're back, so there you go. We'll see what happens. Everybody's got this pie in the sky. Well, suppose they're all healthy. Well, what world are they all going to be healthy? They're older. They're a year older. Frustrates the daylight out of me.
Thank you.
All right, Jerome. You got it. Just frustrates me. I'm a big Sixer guy. I love the Sixers. I'd like to see a direction. I don't think they just keep stammering along. Mike Davion core. They got 2 small guards that can't play together. They got a guy who looks like he is really a good athlete, who might be a good player in this league. I don't know how soon that's going to happen. I don't know if VJ Edgecombe is going to score 33 points this year in an NBA game. Maybe he will. I mean, who knows?
Is 33 the bar for him?
I don't know. Like when Maxi's on the floor, I mean, Maxi is VJ Edgecombe going to be on the same floor with Maxi? Like, is Maxi going to be the point guard? Like, there's so many question marks that they have, even in their guard allotment, on who they're going to play.
Yeah, but
now,
I see that.
I guess Grimes is coming back, so I guess it'll be Maxi and Grimes to start it. But that means Maxi's got the ball in his hands as the point guard. Is he a point guard? I don't know what he is. He's a good player. He's a scorer. I get it. Can they blend a team out of this?
I think they could blend a backcourt.
I hope you're right. I don't see many defined roles here with the backcourt.
I'm more concerned about the health of the front court than I am concerned about them being able to find out roles in the backcourt.
Okay, so let's who's their backup guards? Will they have both guys out of the game? Are they going to have VJ Edgecombe play with McCain? Is that going to be an allotment? They're going to have McCain play with Maxey? Like, what's going to be the first sub off the bench in the guard lineup?
Think it would be McCain.
McCain for who? Grimes or Maxey?
Probably Grimes.
Okay.
They go small there for a couple minutes. Maxey ends up getting his breather. Then they bring in Edgecombe, or if they don't want to keep those guys off the floor, they might go Edgecombe, Grimes, and go with the smaller because they don't have a big they don't have a 4.
It doesn't please me to be down on the Sixers. It really doesn't. And I'm not trying to intentionally be down on the Sixers. I'm just looking at it, I'm going, where is the definition of this team? What are they? And where is this notion coming from? Well, if everybody's healthy, when you know deep down in your heart that it is an impossibility for everybody to be healthy. It's an impossibility.
The best way they've been summed up, and this is not solely the way that they've been summed up by just this person, but they had an Eastern Conference primer, I guess, in The Athletic over the weekend from Eric Green, and they went through different tiers of teams. Mm-hmm. And the tier that the 76ers fall into is the Philadelphia 76ers. And the write-up on them is 8 words? No, you analyze them. I'm not doing it. Because that essentially is where they're at. Everyone wants to say, well, if they're healthy. We can't get to that world because the health for this point, at what we're talking about, the $250 million guys, we don't know.
What? I don't know. When you have chronic injuries and you get older, are you ever healthier? I mean, let's be real about this. Like, it is what it is. Like, I'm not trying to put a pin in a voodoo doll here, but it is what it is. All right, let's take a break. On the other side, some fun Eagles talk. Yeah, we'll talk some Eagles. After this, Mike Missanelli Show continues. We 4:39, Mike Missanelli Show, 97.5, The Fanatic. On a Tuesday, tomorrow, General Knowledge Wednesday. We're a week in arrears for General Knowledge. I was off last Wednesday. Did you get a break on last Wednesday, or did you study and brush up, Ray?
Oh, I did not study at all.
You weren't studying?
No, I did not study.
Tomorrow, Jason Stark on as well. We haven't been with Jason for a couple weeks because of vacations and such.
Hey, you haven't talked. We had him.
You had him on
Yes.
last Wednesday.
He was still
I
on.
haven't talked to him in 2 weeks.
A lot to catch up on.
We do have a lot to catch up on.
Only a few weeks away from the deadline. So.
All right, so I'm reading this story. It was in the Philly Voice, the Eagles' all-quarter century team. And this is that happened last week. So this week it's the anti-Eagles all-quarter century team. So these are some of the players that stepped in during this quarter century and did not exactly light it up. So let's start with quarterback. Now this is I actually disagree with this. They have Vince Young. Now, of course, we remember Vince Young primarily because of his statement saying this was the dream team since they had acquired, I think Asamoah they had acquired then as well, Vince Young as a backup. But Vince Young only started 3 games for the Eagles after all that hubbub. He played in 6 games. He went 1-2 as a starter with 4 TDs and 9 interceptions. There is no worse quarterback that ever played for the Eagles, in my opinion, than poor Mike McMahon, who I believe is a product of Rutgers. Did Mike McMahon go to Rutgers? Do you remember Mike McMahon?
Very briefly.
All right. Mike McMahon played with the Detroit Lions for a while before he came to the Eagles. So he played 1 year with the Eagles. Here are his statistics. 9 games played. Completion percentage of 45.4. He only threw for 1,158 yards, an average of 5.6 per completion. 5 TDs, 8 interceptions, 19 sacks, and a 55.2 rating. Right. That is absolutely abysmal.
This is bad. This is very, very bad.
And so Vince Young gets a pass for me. I go Mike McMahon all the way. Running back, DeMarco Murray. Coming off a season when they got him where he had 497 touches with the Cowboys, which should have been a message to the Eagles because he was completely finished when he played with the Eagles. 3.6 yards per carry, was not happy. He nursed some injuries. He watched practice from the sidelines. And if you remember, Malcolm Jenkins, to mock him, brought over a beach chair as if to say, well, as long as you're not practicing, you might as well be comfortable. Wide receiver in the all anti-quarter century team. Jalen Reagor, Miles Austin, Riley Cooper. What do you think of those 3? Do you remember Miles Austin at all?
Oh, yeah, of course I remember Miles Austin.
Came here 1 year.
Fake Steve Smith was another name that came to my mind.
Well, Miles Austin had no speed. Jalen Reagor, of course, was the bust because Justin Jefferson was really the selection. And here's the thing that got me always with Riley Cooper. After that racial thing at that country concert, idiot Eagle fans, and I call you idiots if you were of this ilk, still called him Coop. He should have been cut summarily by Chip Kelly, who did not cut him. They sent him to some kind of they sent him home. They sent him home like to get some kind of counseling of some sort, which he never did. He just went home.
Yeah, no, he's earned his place in this one on the anti-all-century, quarter-century team.
Tight end, this guy's getting a bad rap. L.J. Smith, he wasn't bad, was he? Certainly there were worse tight ends than L.J. Smith, no?
Yeah, I'm trying to go through my brain of who could have been on here that's not L.J. Smith, that was here long enough to warrant that type of selection. L.J. Smith kind of becomes an unfortunate name in what's been a pretty successful run for them as tight end, right? Like, I mean, I'm trying to think who else.
Yeah, LJ gets a bad rap here, I think. Okay. Let's move on to the offensive line. Now, I don't remember the other three guys, but I could stop after two. Andre Dillard and Danny Watkins, just total stiffs.
Watkins is still one of the craziest things of all time, to me.
I mean, good Lord. Now, they mentioned Demetrius Bell, who I don't really know that well, Jamon Brown, and David Malk. David Malk, I don't even remember. Do you remember these guys?
Demetrius Brown, I remember.
You do?
Demetrius Brown, or Bell, excuse me. I'm saying Brown. Bell, I remember fits into the time frame of like who is the left tackle here, if I remember correctly, or like who's going to. I think it was one of the tackle spots he comes in, and it was like, when are they going to have a legit left tackle? Like post Runyon, pre Peters, and like just was nothing for them. David
Malk apparently wrote a book about his time with the Eagles under the pen name Johnny Anonymous. I'm sorry, I don't remember David Malk.
David, whoa.
What, you remember him?
No, but he wrote a book?
He wrote a book about his time with the Eagles under the pen name Johnny Anonymous.
No? I want to find this book.
Is that fictional?
NFL Confidential, Johnny Anonymous.
Johnny Anonymous.
What? We got to read this. Forget watching movies. I want to read.
All right, give me your edge rushers.
Oh, the edge rushers.
Oh, I mean, what a stiff this guy. They got him from Jacksonville.
Last year's.
His claim to fame was he used to hunt in blinds at tree houses with what's his name? The other successful defensive end.
Trent Cole?
Trent Cole. Jason Babin and Trent Cole lived in Swedesboro, New Jersey. And they used to go hunting together. That was Jason Babbitt's claim to fame. And also, he ran the Bulls in Paploma in the offseason.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, you remember that? Yeah. Okay, let's go to inside defensive line. Trevor Laws. I believe Trevor Laws went to Notre Dame.
I believe
he had dreads.
Right about that. Yes, definitely had dreads. I remember the dreads.
And Malik Jackson.
Did go to Notre Dame.
Yeah, they're not.
And Malik Jackson was just another free agent bust.
Linebacker. Oh, who could forget the legendary Nate Gary?
Oh, what was his
from Nebraska?
He had a nickname, right?
Yeah, he did.
What was his nickname?
I don't know. Nate Gary and Levon Kirkland, who was completely finished when he was here. Cornerback, here's Nnamdi. Byron Maxwell, Curtis Marsh, pretty good. All three of them are really good. Safety, I hate to pick on Temple.
I know.
Jaquan Jarrett.
Yeah.
And Andrew Zendejo. And your specialist, Alex Henry, the kicker, Aaron Sipas, the punter, and Reno Mahe, the returner.
Reno Mahe.
And your coaching staff, Jim Kelly, offensive coordinator Pat Shurmur, and defensive coordinator Matt Patricia. There is your all anti-quarter century team for your Philadelphia Eagles. Pretty good.
Any misses I'd love to hear, because I'm sure there's a least favorite from people that they did not hear on that list that they absolutely want to be on that list.
Oh, yeah. All right, we'll take a break. On the other side, Uncle Frank is checking in. Hang in there, Uncle Frank. We'll get to you. Your calls at 610-632-0975. We'll also get back to our text board. Been a busy day here on the Mike Missanelli Show on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Bills fall to the Giants. I'm Ray done with this Fanatic Sports Update. The West Coast swing got started with a loss to the Giants 3-1. Late last night, the Phillies wasted a gem from Christopher Sanchez. Lineup went 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position. Ryan Kirkering allowed 2 runs in the bottom of the 8th. There was plenty of conversation surrounding the performance of home plate umpire Phil Cuzzy, who had a pair of misses during Harper's 8th inning at bat and 3 misses during Matt Chapman's at bat against Ryan Kirkering in the bottom half of the 8th inning. Harper talked postgame about Cuzzy.
He said the second one he had at my belt line, which I knew it wasn't. Obviously, that doesn't help us in those situations, and he's got to be better.
Tonight, it's Taijuan Walker on the mound against Robbie Ray at 9:45. Last night, the Summer Sixers were in action, fell 89-78 to the Thunder. Third overall pick, VJ Edgecombe sat out the game with a thumb contusion. Yesterday, the 76ers also announced they've brought back Kyle Lowry to a one-year deal. And the Flyers announced yesterday they've given Cam York a 5-year deal worth just over $5 million per year. This update is brought to you by Mattress Firm. Mattress Firm's July 4th sale is your chance to reclaim your restless nights and upgrade to a premium mattress. Get matched. Sleep at night. I'm Ray Dunn on the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
We're going to crank up the Philly talk in the 1 o'clock hour on what happened last night and where the Phillies stand currently. You know, last night you can blame the umpire all you want, and I do. And I blame Rob Thompson for not standing up for his players a little more last night in one particular situation. But I am really, really worried about the Bryce Harper factor right now. To me, it's the Phil's biggest problem. And I've been really obsessed with other problems so far. But Bryce Harper's not the same. He's got one extra base hit in his last 45 days. He's struck out 9 times in his 21 plate appearances since coming back. His 425 slugging percentage is the third lowest through his first 63 games of any season. So these are worries for me because that wrist problem is not going to go away. He's trying to manage it, and I can tell it hurts. And I think it's in his brain that it hurts. In any event, let's go to the phones and talk to Uncle Frank checking in about the Sixers. What's up, Uncle Frank?
Hey, happy, hazy, hot, and humid Tuesday, men.
It is a hot, and a hazy, humid Tuesday. Absolutely.
It's a nasty.
Yeah.
Hey, Ray, does the studio come equipped with paddles in case Mikey strokes out over Morey?
No.
We don't have coffee down here.
We don't have, that's right. We don't even have a pot of coffee, much less defibrillators. Good Lord.
Anyway. Before I go on, if I may, before I meander, one anecdote about Mr. Colarulo.
Yes.
I find he intrigues me. So I went on Ancestry.com, and one of his early ancestors dates back to the Greek god Narcissus. Did you know that?
Oh, come on, man.
It explains it. Yeah. All right.
You think he's a narcissist, Uncle Frank? Just because he likes to mow his lawn, which he's never mowed, and he wouldn't mow it with a shirt on? You're talking about that kind of narcissism?
Remember, did he ever order that Mormon tank top?
Listen,
right.
hey, let's tune in at 2 to see what tight shirt he's got on today.
So, I never understood why NBA teams have so many assistant coaches. They're all back there in suit. There's more coaches than players.
There's a second row and a third row, actually.
Yes, you hit the right there. On
Exactly.
camera.
It's like a movie theater with those guys.
They all have what do you call it? Legal pads out.
Yeah, they all do. They all have one little assignment.
Yeah.
Well, they need veteran leadership. 17 assistants aren't enough.
He signs 2 player coaches. What's he going to fire 2 assistants?
Udonis Haslem is next. They're going to sign him. He'll be the 15th man.
He's wrapped like a mummy by now, isn't he? So, I mean, it's Mike. It's like the NBA should hire Elon Musk and cut out the fork or something. It just seems so much. It's baffling to me. But anyway, I'm with you.
You don't need 2 older players, and you don't need them anymore. You went through it last year. What did they give you last year? Well, they're a year older than what they were last year.
They haven't been able to play for 4 years.
It's unbelievable. I just can't understand it. What are you getting out of these guys?
Ray, get the paddles. Here he goes.
I swear to God, it makes me crazy. What are you getting? What did you see last year? We got to bring these 2 back. I'm going, what on earth is going on here? I hate Jeff Dalton. I'd take Jeff Dalton over these 2.
Oh, now you've stepped over a line too far, Mike.
Oh, my God. What is happening? Let's go to text board. Give me some text. Make me happy with a text.
Oh, okay. Make you happy because I got one of those if they stay healthy text. We got plenty of names on the all quarter century anti-team.
Okay. What do you got?
Louisville's finest, Marcus Smith.
Oh, Marcus Smith. That was the chip draft pick, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
J.J. Arcega-Whiteside has to be on there over Miles Austin. Only 1 year for Austin, where J-Jaw was 3 years of absolute torture. Justin from Fairmount.
Yeah. Yeah. And they gave him every benefit of the doubt, too. They just hung on to him and hung on to him. What else?
So many more J.J. Arcega-Whitesides. To the chat board, we had returner Jeremy Bloom.
Well, yeah, he was. He got banged up a little bit. He was diverted with track. So,
a couple more on here. We had Kiko Alonso pop up as a name here.
Alonso. Yeah, he wasn't very good here when they traded Shady McCoy for him.
Yeah. Ooh, Dorial Green Beckham, another one popping up here.
Dorial Green Beckham. Oh, he's fast. He runs a 4.3.
And he's tall.
He's tall.
He's tall. He's going to go up there and catch him.
Had no heart to play football. None.
So plenty of those.
Right.
Plenty of people still checking in on the Phillies conversation.
All right, and we'll get to that.
Thompson.
We'll rev that up here at the 1 o'clock hour of the Mike Missanelli Show. Yeah, you're listening to WPEN HD1, Burlington, Philadelphia, Beasley Media Group station, and we're broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. All right, last night, did the Phillies get hosed? Yeah, they got hosed. They got hosed by an umpire who apparently his eyes weren't focused because he was missing all kinds of pitches. They reasoned that he missed 20 pitches last night on both sides, but more for the Phillies, especially late in the game. But the Phillies are now 0 for their last 24 with runners in scoring position. Now, they scored a run last night that they probably could have scored via the bat to the ball, but it was a wild pitch. And so that opportunity went by the wayside. He almost got punished because of that opportunity where they scored a run on a wild pitch. And then Kirkland gave it up by hitting 2 batters, but he also got hosed with some calls. And here's the big question. When you get hosed to that extent, it then behooves the manager to fight for your players. Baseball, and I've told you a million times, when you get in a batter's box, it's a matter of survival. Okay? You're trying to survive your best against a pitcher who's trying to get you out. And so when an umpire puts you in a hole and he doesn't have to help you, but when he hurts you and reduces the odds of you getting a hit off this pitcher who's trying to get you out, it is annoying as hell. And when the guy is missing pitches that is his job to call, he needs to be called out on it occasionally, whether your personality is not to do that or not. There are times when you have to break out of that personality and at least get on the record as, I am perturbed. You're killing my team. We're trying to win a pennant here, and you're doing this. You're not doing your job. We're trying to do our job. And if he tosses you, he tosses you. But in my mind, last night, Rob Thompson should have gone out to fight harder for his players who were getting screwed. I know a lot of people don't agree with that. A lot of people like Ray saying, well, that's not his personality. It would look phony. No, sometimes he gets thrown out of a game. Sometimes he gets annoyed. Sometimes he has a rhubarb in an argument with an umpire. Why not last night?
I don't know if a lot of people disagree with you. I'd say a lot of people agree with you. I'm still trying to find...
Most people agree with me, right?
Yeah, I would say most people agree with you on this. MJ at Pottstown, I've been saying this since they lost to Houston in the World Series. Topper just lacks the fire needed to win it all. His team is impacted by his attitude and demeanor.
I just think in that kind of situation, I'm not asking a guy to change his stripes. I'm asking a guy to do his job as a manager. Well, a manager always has to bring the confidence out of his players. Whether it's in the clubhouse, whether it's on the field, whatever it is, a player has to know that his manager believes in him. Otherwise, there are enough things in baseball where you can get down on yourself. It is a sport where you naturally get down on yourself. Every at-bat, you get down on yourself. It is up to your manager to always say, I believe in you, and the next time you're going to get him. Whether he says that directly or whether he gives that impression just by being there, his presence alone. And last night was a situation where I believe he should have fought harder for his players.
And again, I don't know many people coming against you on this one because Norm from Mayfair, Topper needs to rip into the umpire when his injured star player is getting hosed and other players too. When you're going to get ejected, you better get your money's worth.
And listen, maybe he wouldn't have got ejected. Maybe because he is knowing that he's missing pitches. And a guy like Thompson points it out. Maybe because he has no defense for it and doesn't reverse the field on him and get angry. Maybe he just listens to him. But that part alone, going out and giving the guy an ear, is enough to get your players to go, look at this. He's backing us. He's fighting for us. Normally, we know he's a fighter. But in this particular situation, we're losing the game because of this guy. My manager's got my back. And that does wonders, I think, for a team. What else?
Yeah, still a lot of people. Again, I think most people agree with you from what we've got on the chat, what we've got through the text line right here. Everyone's pretty much, we're hard-pressed to find anyone who doesn't think that he should have been thrown out yesterday. And to the argument that I was making earlier, I've stopped expecting that from him. Like that to me at this point, when it happens, I don't expect him to go out there and do it. That's just not who he is. That's just never been what you've gotten from Rob Thompson. The one time he got ejected this season, it wasn't like there were crazy fireworks.
But you get it occasionally. Occasionally he'll come out and fight for his team.
Yeah, he's gone out there. He's talked to the umpire before. In the situation last night where Harper, and we got a couple of texts like this, where if he went out there and stood up for his team after Harper, maybe Kirkering would have got those calls. The pitches against Harper were out of the zone, called in the zone. And for Kirkering, it was the reversed issue. Like, it wasn't as if it was some consistent problem. He was all over the board. He stunk last night. He was a bad, bad umpire behind the plate last night. It came back and it hurt the Phillies certainly in that game. But I don't think that necessarily the two things would have been related there, where you would have gotten the calls from Kirkering because he went out there after Harper
So
got
you're saying
two
it would have
strikes
been
on him.
worse?
I'm not saying it would have been worse.
Well, it might have been. But see, that's the risk you take, that a guy is going to have the red ass that you got on him, and he's going to punish your team down the road. But if he does that, that makes him look worse in the mind of the league.
I just think that if you're going to the league today, the Phillies are sending things into them anyways. Rob Thompson's having those conversations with the guys after the game anyways. I don't know how much galvanizing there was. I don't think there's a run that's coming there in the 8th inning because he went out there and spoke on his team's behalf.
Listen, it's the same thing for me. Like, if a guy has a bad game and he comes into clubhouse the next day and his name is in the lineup card, that, believe it or not, does wonders for a guy's confidence that the manager still believes in him. It's the same thing here. Every little thing you do as a manager that can bring out the best confidence in your player is beneficial for the long haul. And I believe last night a little a situation like that where he could have backed his player goes a long, long way down the road. That's all.
And I guess at this point, they've been with him for how long? Like, they know who he is.
Yeah.
Do they expect him to go out there in that moment?
Guess what? If he breaks the mold, they go, wow, there's another side of him. Well, now we appreciate that side of him. It's another side that they can appreciate about him. It's not a bad thing.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but to say that, like, you brought up the example earlier of the player that at AAA, the manager went out there and actually went after his player instead of going after the umpire and telling him to get in the dugout and all those things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and you mentioned that breaks the circle of trust. Is the circle of trust broken by him not standing up there for them?
It's not broken. It doesn't. It could have been enhanced. Is what I'm saying. It could have been enhanced. That's all. 610-632-0975. On the other side. Oh, big news. A big news that is going to elicit the playing of the Penn State fight song, which I know everybody out there wants to hear. It's the Mike Missanelli Show. It's 97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, everybody, it's Bill Colarulo, and come
7-5, The Fanatic. 610-632-0975. All right, there was a story to the Inquirer today. I know Marcus Hayes for a really long time. There are some stories that he'll write that I just find ridiculous. And today was one of them where he tried to make a case that nobody from the Phillies got screwed for the All-Star game. Now, how on earth do you look at Trey Turner's numbers and not say that he got screwed? Like it's impossible to come up with a take unless you're trying to fool somebody with a foolish take to write a story like nobody got screwed. Trey Turner obviously got screwed. Now I'm not going to go so far. Ranger Suarez and Sanchez, both of them probably got screwed as well. But the pitching staff is a little dicier. Trey Turner, when you lead the league in hits and you're and in every category you lead other shortstops, you should be selected to the All-Star team. And it got me thinking, like, who do we trust anymore to get a straight scoop? Who's writing in the media? Is there anybody that you trust anymore?
Is there anybody?
Is there anybody that you trust? Who do you trust?
I mean,
who are some people that you trust who write the printed word?
I mean, McClain.
You trust Jeff McClain? Okay. That's
McManus.
Fair. Trust Tim McManus. All right.
Yeah.
Now these guys are reporters; they're not columnists, really.
Oh well, if we're going columnists, that's a different.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean by trust?
Well,
trust that their information is real. Trust
like,
that their opinion is real.
Sometimes I laud Marcus Hayes because he's fearless. Although I don't think he was very fearless with that Embiid situation. He kind of turtled up with that Embiid situation last year. But he'll at least go out and he'll say something. But sometimes he'll say stuff that's so ridiculous that I can't even take it seriously. You know? Like how do you write a column that nobody on the Phillies got screwed?
Yeah. No, I thought it was ridiculous when I read it as well.
It's not even in the ballpark of being believable.
Yeah, I mean, I guess when you're talking columnists, it goes to a different level of like trust. I mean, it's more trusting that the opinion's authentic than it is.
I trust McManus more than anybody because I think he's got he's on top of it.
Yeah, I guess
he doesn't hot take anything.
Yeah, so this is a different conversation from beat reporter to columnist. I read this and it kind of screamed of, oh wow, there had to be some takeaway here that no one else had thought of, and this was the takeaway that he went with.
Yeah, it's almost like you have to think of, all right, what can I say that nobody else is going to say that's going to elicit a reaction? But that's not honest. It's just not honest.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't hurt that I wholly disagree with the concept here.
Yeah.
Like, I think there was absolutely snubs to be had from this. And I know you're upset about Turner. I think Christopher Sanchez, I'm kind of dumbfounded that he's not a part of this.
Yeah.
I kind of thought I would be asking for a lot if I was asking for Ranger Suarez to be on this team, because that would have been 3 starters. But I thought for sure the Wheeler-Sanchez 1-2.
I'll predict right now that he'll be named to the team, Sanchez.
Yeah, I imagine so.
Because he won't pitch. And that's the reason why he'll be named to the team. Because that then takes a player out of a manager's hand that he doesn't have to use and worry about getting in the game. He's going to pitch Sunday. He won't be able to pitch in the All-Star game.
Yeah, that's fair, I guess. I would be curious to see. I guess Sale right now is hurt, so Sale might be the name that he gets named for. Yeah. But going through this, the other thing that really bothered me about the All-Star game, while we're getting to things here that I missed just not being here yesterday, this whole Kershaw thing is ridiculous to me. I don't like it.
In what way?
The legend pick?
Yeah.
Like, come on. What is this?
You don't like the legend pick?
No, I don't like the legend pick. I haven't liked the legend picks. Oh, yeah, bring him back. You could do something at the All-Star game to honor the guy's career.
Yeah.
But this idea that he's on the All-Star team, like, these are metrics we use to measure guys against history.
I don't have a problem with it because he's pitched well.
In what, 5 games?
Yeah.
He got to his 3. He's pitched 5 games. Any other person across baseball pitches 5 games. They're not going to get in.
He's a legend who's pitched well. It's not like he's a legend who came back and is now crappy. So at least that you can justify it.
Okay, he's pitched 9 games to a mid-3 ERA. 9 games get you an All-Star bid nowadays?
Well, it's a legend pick. It's not really an All-Star.
But that's the whole point. Like, we will measure all-time history of number of All-Star appearances. He gets a free one?
I like it because people want to see him. I really do think that the majority of people would like to see him throw an inning.
I've seen him throw plenty of innings. He's thrown 2,700 plus in his career. I've watched him.
Yeah, but this
It's
is
someone
an
else's
all-star
time.
game. Everybody can tune in and you can see him. And I think that goes. I don't have a problem with the legend pick.
I just think that now when you start using accolades and the things you accumulate throughout your career, including all-stars, like, does 11 all-stars for Kershaw mean the same as 11 all-stars for someone in the 80s that didn't get a little participation invite?
Yeah.
Kershaw's an all-star, Sanchez isn't?
All right, let me move on to this, Ray. I've been waiting all show for this. We teased this a few weeks ago. We thought this was going to happen. A hockey player named Gavin McKenna, who is the prospective number 1 pick in next year's NHL draft by far. He's like Lindros. He last year played for the Medicine Hat Tigers of the WHL, the Junior League. He had 129 points in 58 games, 41 goals, and 88 assists. He's a left winger. He has chosen to play collegiate hockey next year and gather in some NIL money for the Penn State Nittany Lions, Ray! Gavin McKenna to the Lions. Let me hear the song, Ray. Yes. Now, the Nittany Lions in the Frozen Four this year are projected to win the whole thing, the Natty next year, because they got Gavin McKenna, the prospective number 1 pick in the NHL draft. Not only that, Ray, but they are saying at Penn State that Gavin McKenna is the biggest recruit, the most important recruit in any sport in Penn State athletic history. Da, 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 da. Now, let's think about this for a second. They've had All-Americans in football. You mean to tell me that this guy is the biggest recruit ever? Wrestling recruits, baseball, well, not baseball, but football recruits. Like, who would have been the highest recruit? The quarterback, Drew Aller, was the number 1 quarterback prospect when they got him. This kid is a bigger recruit than that. Are you feeling it, Ray?
You know me. I'm tapped in.
Are you tapped into Penn State hockey?
I know.
Let's think about this. This kid had 129 points in 58 games. That's pretty incredible.
Oh, it's incredible. No, I mean, the kid's got to be a star.
41 goals, 88 assists. As a left wing, he had 88 assists.
I hope in a year from now, an arbitrator awards him to the Flyers.
He's a big guy, too. I think he's like, what is he, like 6'5"? He's like a big winger.
I just know the name. And I barely know the name because I keep calling him
I got to be honest with you.
Dylan McKenna.
I think they ought to tank for Gavin, the Flyers.
So wait.
Tank for Gavin. Winless for Wiggins.
Miserable for McKenna.
Gork it for Gavin. Gork it for Gavin next year.
Are we doing a remote from Penn State ice hockey?
Come on, Danny and Jonesy. You gotta get this kid. He's gonna be playing in your backyard.
We're gonna be broadcasting from a Penn State ice hockey game.
The highest recruit in the history of the school's athletics department. What are you kidding
contributing
me?
to the NIL fund that's paying for
I'll tell you
him?
something. Hockey's big at Penn State. They sell out every game. Did you know that?
I did. I know people that went there.
Yeah. They sell that arena out.
It's great.
All right, you Penn State fans. You excited for Gavin McKenna? I'm more excited for the hockey team next year than the football team.
Really?
I'm going to be glued to this kid. What are you kidding me? The way I was glued to Lindros? This kid's Lindros. 610-632-0975. Mike Missanelli Show continues.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Phils lose the Giants. I'm Ray Dunn with this Fanatic Sports Update. The West Coast swing got started with a loss to the Giants 3-1 late last night. The Phillies wasting a gem from Christopher Sanchez as the lineup went 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position. Ryan Kirkering allowed 2 runs in the bottom of the 8th. There was plenty of conversation surrounding the performance of home plate umpire Phil Cuzzy, who had a pair of misses during Harper's 8th inning at bat and 3 misses during Matt Chapman's bat against Ryan Kirkering in the 8th. Harper talked postgame about Cuzzy.
He said the second one he had at my belt line, which I knew it wasn't. Obviously, that doesn't help us in those situations, and he's got to be better.
Tonight, it's Taijuan Walker on the mound against Robbie Ray at 9:45 out there in San Francisco. Last night, the Summer Sixers were in action and fell 89-78 to the Thunder. His third overall pick, VJ Edgecombe, sat out the game with a thumb contusion. Yesterday, the 76ers also announced they've re-signed Kyle Lowry to a 1-year deal. And the Flyers announced yesterday they gave Cam York a 5-year deal yesterday worth north of $5 million per year. This update's brought to you by the New Jersey Division of Highway Traffic Safety. Speed limits save lives. Speeding puts everyone at risk, and officers are out there to enforce the law and ensure your safety. Take your personal responsibility. Slow down and drive safely, New Jersey. I'm Ray Dunn, home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Get your root down. Mike Missanelli Show, 97.5 The Fanatic. You know what? I missed our 12 o'clock hour sponsor. I missed it like Phil Cuzzy yesterday. Thank you. The 12 o'clock hour that we just went through was brought to you by Service First HVAC, offering 0% financing for 48 months, rebates and tax credits up to $4,300 when purchasing a heating and cooling system. Learn more at ServiceFirstHVAC.com. Our Fanatic Deal of the Week this week, Sahara Sam's Water Park. That's in West Berlin, New Jersey. I'm sure our pal Bill Colarulo, Mr. Jersey, has gone there or taken his kids there. Anyway, the Fanatic Deal of the Week is buy one ticket, get one free at Sahara Sam's Water Park in West Berlin. Get this exclusive offer while supplies last at 975thefanatic.com/deals, right?
Good work.
Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, so we're all over the place today with the Phillies. Let's blame Phil Cuzzy, but let's not. Let's blame the fact that they are 0 for their last 24 with runners in scoring position. That's hard to believe. When you think about it, I mean, that's just hard to believe. 0 for 24 with runners in scoring position. You get a guy to third base, a chopper could score him. A fly ball could score him. They don't even get that. 0 for their last 24 is pathetic.
Lineup you paid, what, $1 billion for? All total?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, somebody's got to put the ball in play when there's a runner in scoring position.
It was tough yesterday. I think it was...
Didn't have the bases loaded yesterday, and they couldn't score. With less than one, 2 outs.
Yeah, was it the bases
what inning was that?
Loaded?
I thought they had loaded the bases.
They had, I know, the back-to-back Castellanos and Bohm first pitch swinging outs.
Yeah.
I forget what this exact situation runners-wise was. That drove me nuts last night. That was the one for me that I was like, oh, first pitch, both you guys got it. Good. Love to see it.
Yeah, I don't get carried away with swinging at the first pitch unless the guy's like really wild, because you know that first pitch might be the best one you see. So I'm all for hacking at it. You just got to be like Brandon Marsh had a good at bat last night. I was watching when he had to hit the ground ball to second base to move the runner to third base. That again, you got a runner on third base with 1 out. Like that's a perfect scenario for a team to cash in. You got to score that run, and they didn't score it.
No, they really haven't had that breakthrough hit. And like you mentioned earlier, they might have had it with Turner. You know, if they don't end up having Stott score on the wild pitch, but overall, I mean, they're getting traffic on the base paths, but they're not taking much advantage of any of it. And obviously, the 0 for 24 speaks to that. But it's been just brutal to watch them with runners in scoring position over the weekend. Like that's since July 4th. So now you're talking the entire Red Series and the start of this series out there in San Francisco. And I mean, I think that goes back to a lot of people's concerns about this lineup and how it can go cold and how, you know, people will talk about their approach and whether their approach is the right way. And some of it is, you know, hey, baseball comes and goes, ebbs and flows, but you gotta be able to create some sort of and I saw it earlier in our YouTube chat. Like you have to be able to take advantage of some of the incredible pitching performances you've gotten. Like you have a rotation right now where 3 of your pitchers are in stretches where they've gone like 8+ starts where their ERA is somewhere in the ones.
Yeah.
You have to you're taking advantage of it, but not as much as you probably should right now.
All right, let's look at it. There's the anatomy. In the 4th inning, Harper leadoff walk. Bohm flies out. Castellanos grants into a fielder's choice. Harper's out of second. So man on first base. Kepler gets an infield single that the shortstop couldn't make a play on. Runner in scoring position. Real Muto grounds out to third base. In the top of the 5th, Stott doubles to lead off the inning. Marsh moves him to third base. Now, Scott did score on the wild pitch, but there was not a run batted in. Turner singled to center to keep it going, and then Schwarber lines out to right. Harper strikes out looking. And, from that moment on, in the top of the 7th, they got the leadoff hitter off again against Joey Lucchesi. That goofball with all his gyrations. Real Muto with the single. Stott sacrifices. They get him to second base and 1 out. Marsh grounded out at a chopper to the pitcher. which hit him in the leg, I guess. Real Muto gets the third base on that. Turner strikes out. Top of the eighth. Schwarber again leads off the inning with a single. They got 3 innings with the leadoff hitter on. Harper grounds out pitcher to second base. They couldn't complete the double play. Bohm flies out. Castellanos flies out. And that's what you're talking about, swinging on the first pitch? Those 2 at-bats?
Yeah, it's a couple of off-speed pitches that they both tried to make something happen with.
And they go meekly in the 9th inning against Doval, even though Kepler walked to lead off the inning. Real Muto lines out, Stott grounds into a double play. They just cannot get a clutch hit. And they had plenty of opportunity. You get the leadoff hitter on 3 straight innings, you should be able to score one of those guys.
Yeah.
It's absurd.
I mean, it is a tremendous bullpen that the Giants have. Like, the Giants are one of the best bullpens right now in all of baseball, and I think in the National League they might actually be ERA-wise. But this is what you should expect to face. Like, when we're talking about who you're going to go up against in these, like in the postseason, this is the type of bullpen you can. The Giants, the Padres to a lesser extent, because the Padres, I think, are still like top 5 when it comes to bullpen ERA in baseball. Like, these are the teams you're going to get to, and the thing that concerns you is they get this type of starting pitching, and when they only get 1 run across, it's like if this guy could be perfect for all but 1 pitch, and you're still going to end up running into a problem in the postseason.
All right, let's update our playoff picture. Dodgers and Cubs hold the 1 and 2 spots. The Phillies are the 3 seed right now with 53 wins. It looks like the Brewers have the 4 seed right now. No, I'm sorry. The Mets have the 4 seed. The Brewers have the 5 seed, and the 6 seed goes to the Giants. So the Phillies in a series with the Giants in the playoffs if the season ended right now.
3 games.
Do you like them? You like them to beat the Giants? The 3 games will be here. That's important.
3 games would be here. There would be Wheeler's. Like, it's hard to bet against a Wheeler-Sanchez 1-2.
Yeah.
That's the problem. And, like, watching last night happen, someone that doesn't believe in this team will say, well, Ray, they had Sanchez out there last night. Look how well he pitched. They still lost the game. And totally fair on that part of it. It comes back. Like, we've done this conversation a million times. They need the arm, and I still think they need a left fielder. So I think they can beat this team. I think they're better than the Giants on paper. But going into that series, the one thing that would concern me would be the bullpen. Just like if it was the Padres in that 6th spot, that would be the one thing that would concern me, the 2 differences. I think the Phillies overall are the better team, but they get beat out of that bullpen, and if you don't take advantage of the fact you have the better starting pitcher going, none of this matters.
You know who's a disgrace? The Braves.
It's beautiful.
They really Snit's got to go. I predict. The Washington Nationals clean house the other day. I think that Snicker is about to go.
Odd timing though for the Nationals.
Yeah. Well,
week before the draft. Get rid of your general manager.
Well, they're going to make it easy because whoever comes in there has the number 1 pick, so he gets a bonus.
Easier, or the opposite.
Well, yeah, but they don't trust the guy to make the number 1 pick now. They don't trust the old regime. So the new regime gets a little more energy to come in there.
Yeah, it was just weird timing for him. But I imagine Snicker probably is.
Snicker's gone.
The hot seat to go.
Yeah, he's reached his limit with that team.
I forget who said it. I don't know if it was Heyman. There was someone last week. We had played the audio where they were talking about building the argument for trading Acuna right now.
Yeah, but that's foolish.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it.
Like trading Acuna. And why would the Pirates trade Skeens? Because that's another thing that's going around. Why would you trade him?
No, they're not going to do it. I mean, it's probably because he's going to end up somewhere else eventually.
Well, yeah, he is, but you still have him under control for a while, man.
Did you see who they listed as their 2 untouchables?
The Pirates?
Yeah.
No. Who?
Skeens and McCutchen.
McCutchen?
That's apparently who, like, league sources have told. This has been multiple reporters now saying that Skeens and McCutchen are their 2 untouchables.
What is this, the Kyle Lowry principle?
This is the McCutchen sells tickets.
He's good in the clubhouse type of guy?
Well, because he's a legend for the Pirates specifically.
He's a legend. Yeah.
I don't know how many teams are calling on him, but the idea that you're not going to trade McCutchen because he's
a legend?
Yeah.
You don't like this legend status, do you?
No, it's not. I think it's 2 very different things. 2 very different things. I think one's team building. The other one is a participation trophy at the All-Star game.
All right. So
When I was young, they worked for All-Star games, Mike. They didn't just hand them out to guys because you struck out 3,000
earn
guys.
your spot.
Yeah.
Things have changed, man. You got to make it entertaining.
It's not an all-star. It's not an all-guy game. It's an all-star game.
Well, you got to appease the fans, dude.
What fan was clamoring for 27?
I think it's actually a good thing that Clayton Kershaw is going to be selected as legendary status. I'm in. Now, normally you would see me as an old salt baseball guy, but I like that. I like a little twist.
He'll always be a 10-time All-Star in my book.
Suppose 8 years down the line they give Harper that kind of status.
I'll say the same thing about Harper.
Well, maybe next year they'll give Harper that kind of status. The way things are going. 610-632-0975. You want to climb in? We're coming down the home stretch. The Mike Missanelli Show. Back after this.
Kincade and Salciunas.
This is the Zach Wheeler.
Mike Missanelli Show, 97.5 The Fanatic. You want to climb in at 610-632-0975 by phone call or by text. ESPN website Had an interesting story on 3 intriguing players that could be moved, that could be traded by the trade deadline. And in the case of Paul Skeens, they have Paul Skeens in this configuration here. And there are 3 teams that would vie for his services: the Mets, the Dodgers, and the Detroit Tigers. All 3 of those teams would offer up a package, 5-player package of highly ranked prospects and players for Skeens, if the Pirates are so inclined.
Yeah, I mean, I could see Dodgers, Mets because of money. Tigers, I guess, with the team controlled, I think they can make a run out of it with him this year and for the next couple of years.
Skubal at the top.
Yeah, I mean, and they absolutely could. I'm just trying to think about teams that think that they're going to be able to lock him down long term. Do the Tigers fit that money-wise?
I don't know.
But
They got till
Skubal-
2029 to do it.
Skubal and Skeens, I think you're winning a 3-game series and a 5-game series. I think you feel pretty good about your chances if you're able to spin them twice each in that 5-game
All
set.
right. Are you ready for this? Ronald Acuna would also cost you a combination of 5 primo prospects and players. The teams that would be interested are listening: the Brewers, who have some highly ranked prospects, the Seattle Mariners, and the Tampa Bay Rays.
I mean, with his contract, anyone could be in play for that one.
Yep.
They were able to lock him up for an incredible discount. So, yeah, I'm not surprised any of those teams would be
All right, now here's the one that interests us the most. Byron Buxton. The teams: Phillies, Reds, Royals. The Phillies offer would have to be, according to this story, Andrew Painter and Justin Crawford for Byron Buxton. Are you doing it, Ray?
No.
You're not doing it.
No, I don't think so.
All right, now, is Byron Buxton the type of player who can put you over the top as your regular center fielder?
Healthy Byron Buxton?
Yes. He's
Sure.
healthy now. He's having a great season.
Byron Buxton, I have bought stock in every single year, and by the time May comes around, I regret buying stock in him because he's on the 60-day IL.
I get it. He's been hurt a lot, but not right now. He's signed through 2028, and he makes $15.1 million.
I get it. Listen, if he's healthy, he's a tremendous player. The issue is for Byron Buxton, if I'm giving up 2 of my top 3 prospects, that I am now I'm mortgaging everything on a guy that I don't think plays 120 games. Like that, to me, the injury factor goes way over if I'm giving up 2 primo prospects for that guy.
Yeah, you're giving up your number 1 and number 3 prospect.
Yeah. That's a lot for a guy that I don't trust is going to play 120.
Now, Dombrowski goes all in. Will he go all in like that?
I don't think so. I don't think he goes all in like that.
See, if it was a power-hitting left fielder, I don't know. I'm so torn. They're so feeble right now in left field, and they're feeble in center field, although Marsh has shown some flashes. But against a left-hander, I got to play this Rojas. It makes me crazy that I have to put him in the lineup, and he's probably going to be in the lineup tonight.
You think they start that run where they give the opportunity to Marsh? Marsh, I think last night got to face lefty, if I'm not mistaken.
Wait, did you see where Rojas is suing his agent, by the way?
I did see this.
He's suing his agent. You know why? Because the agent told him he could be a major leaguer. No, apparently he got fleeced.
Yeah.
Or whatever little money he's made so far.
Well,
Poor guy got fleeced.
I don't think this is the first instance of this happening baseball-wise, where some of these guys get if you give us this or we invest this in you, then we're going to take the advances or something. I don't understand money-wise with working with them, but so many of these guys are signing these kind of bet on yourself type deals that just put the money in your pocket. Just take the paycheck.
You got conned into investing in some academy in the islands or whatever. And also, right now, I understand that they have to repossess that fancy white belt that he wears. Look at that! I got 2 rim shots for that. 2 in a row. For
2 in a
Rojas.
row for Rojas.
All right, let's go to the text board. What are people saying at the text board?
We got a lot of names. In fact, we got a team put
more
together
Eagle
for
names.
this
Okay.
Eagles name.
All
So
right.
we got a list here from one texter: Kerry Williams, Bradley Fletcher, Nelson, unlike Aguilar, Donnell Pumphrey,
Oh, Donnell Pumphrey. They waited a long time for him, too.
King Dunlap.
King Dunlap, the kid from Auburn, 6'9", right?
Mm-hmm. Winston Justice.
Winston Justice from USC.
Ryan Matthews. Marquise Goodwin. And Mark Sanchez.
That is a bunch of trash right there, dude. Sanchez can't beat Mike McMahon, though. He was better than Mike McMahon. He was better than Vince Young, wasn't he?
Yeah. No, Sanchez was a name that popped to mind immediately, but I couldn't justify taking him over.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he was annoying when he played here, but he wasn't as bad as Mike McMahon or Vince Young.
No. I mean, they still had a chance to go to the playoffs that year that he filled in for Foles the second half of the season.
Yeah.
We got some people excited about Penn State hockey.
Uh-oh! Get over your head, Ray!
This was my favorite of all the people excited for Penn State hockey. Great. We've been clamoring for Mike to talk some hockey, but we get Penn State hockey. I guess beggars can't be choosers.
I'm sorry, man. He's the projected number 1 pick in the draft. He could have stayed in juniors, right? Instead, he gets the NIL money. Look at this. All of a sudden, the world has opened up for hockey players with the NIL money.
Are you throwing some to that Penn State
I am not
fund?
throwing anything. Terry Pegula, who owns the Buffalo Bills, has enough money to throw to that program. So I'm sure it's a lot of his NIL money going to that Penn State hockey team. This kid, by the way, I misspoke. He's only 6 foot. He's 6 foot, 170 pounds. So he's not a big guy.
No, not a big guy.
You know where he's from? He's from the Yukon.
Really?
Yes, the Yukon is next to Alaska.
Huh. Well,
so
there you
he's
go.
from the hinterlands, this dude.
Well, that's obviously now he's a star.
He is. How did he get to be a star? They got the Yukon good youth movement at the Yukon? Youth hockey movement?
Sure.
Feeder system in the Yukon?
Sounds like something that would be there.
That's desolate, man. That's that kind of turf.
Very far.
Yeah.
Some more people chiming in on the Thompson discussion here. We have Mark in Collegeville saying, I can't believe that Thompson did not go out there. The fact that our manager just sits there, does nothing every single game and in every situation that he could possibly stand up for his players infuriates me.
All right, listen. I'm sure he said something from the dugout. I'm sure he said, yeah, okay, come on, Phil. Yeah, something like that. But at that point, you got to make a more vociferous charge at that guy who's hurt. You got to preach logic to him. Hey, Phil, listen. You've been missing pitches all game, in which he probably throws you out. But then you get your 2 cents in there. All I'm asking you to do is do your job. We're trying to do our job here. We're working our ass off to try to win a ball game here because we think we can win something this year. You're costing us a chance to win a game here that we need. I'm just asking you, concentrate a little more, whatever you have to do. The video is showing you're missing a lot of pitches, which I'm sure you know. You're not having the greatest night. I'm sure you got to put that message into that guy. And then the league pays more attention, and the benefit is you get your players seeing that you're backing them, and you got their back. That's all I'm saying.
And that was pretty much the entire line of the text line today. Everyone pretty upset with the fact that Rob Thompson did not go out there. Someone enjoyed the "your sister has a young core" line from earlier, talking about the 76ers, that they want that is now a drop for us. Because someone gave you the Sixers have a young core, and you've hit them with the "your sister has a young core."
It actually now it makes sense.
Yeah.
But it was unintentional.
It was unintentional, but it kind of made it would at the time as you said it. I was like, that's actually something that.
Yeah, I don't know if I get myself in trouble with that. It was just an exclamation.
Yeah.
It was like an Italian exclamation.
Correct. Well, you're just saying, hey, someone's fit, just working out.
Yeah, I got you.
But a lot of people following that Sixers conversation early was exactly what you think. This team stinks. This team has no chance. Someone joined my boycott of watching this team.
Let me just say, you can't boycott them because they can't do anything about it now. Okay, right? So if we're urging them to change it, they've set the template for what's going to be next year. They're not a horrible team. But when we evaluate the 76ers, we evaluate them in the context of whether they are championship worthy or at least conference winning worthy. Yes, I know that the East is wide open because of this injury situation. But can anybody tell me that the Sixers are going into next season better suited than the Knicks or the Cleveland Cavaliers? You know, maybe the Pacers, maybe the Bucks, maybe the Heat. I don't know even about the Magic. I think the Magic go in next year as better suited than the Sixers for one reason. You can't look at the names anymore. You can't look at it like Embiid, George, their names. Wow. You got to look at like Embiid, George, they're not the same, nor will they ever be the same. That's the only thing I'm saying about the Sixers. So it's one thing is hope, and it's one thing it's misguided hope. And that's what I see with the Sixer fans that go, no, well, if they're all healthy, the East is wide open, they can do something. All right, maybe you're right. I hope to God you're right. I hope to God that I'm sitting here during next basketball season, and I'm going, you know what? I misjudged it. They stayed healthy. Oh, my God, I can't believe it, but they stayed healthy, and look where they are right now. They're actually vying for the Eastern Conference title. I hope to God I could say that. I don't think I will, though.
I really hope you're saying that too, Mike, but I don't see it very likely. And Rich from the Northeast, I agree about the Sixers bringing back dinosaurs to compete at a competitive level. There has to be younger players in free agency that can produce more equal results. That can't be so good for a locker room when last season Maxey was mad about Embiid not being ready at all at the beginning of the season. But young core-wise, I do agree that I see some positivity there.
Young core-wise. Okay.
Young core.
A young core has to be, to me, 6 players. That would be a young core. That'd be half your 12. That'd be a young core. In fact, it should be even higher than 6. Give me the young core that amounts to 6.
I'm curious how many teams in the league, though, young core-wise, go. Like, what's your cutoff for young?
Oklahoma City has 6.
Well, yeah, but Oklahoma City just won the finals.
That's how you have to build a team. That's a young core. That's a core that's going to come back year after year after year.
Until the apron gets them.
How do we know this core is even a core? We don't know from VJ Edgecombe yet. We don't know from Jared McCain yet. We don't know from these guys whether they can play with Maxey. We have no idea.
But my question goes to the other side of this one, of how many teams in the league would you, like, you have to make a cutoff of what young is, and then you to say 6+.
Young is like pornography. You can't define it, but you know it when you see it. All right? That's what it is.
Okay, but
right?
to that point, like,
that put you in your heels or what?
No, I just didn't expect that to be the way you went with that one.
Yeah,
the 6 guy, but again, having 6 guys, I don't know how many teams can say they have 6 players that are core.
Yeah. Well, that's
what they're doing.
That's what I define a young core. Anyway, thanks for listening, everybody. We had a lot of fun today. Stay tuned for Unfiltered tomorrow. General Knowledge Wednesday. Be there. Take care, buddy. Bye bye.